ESPN Sunday Night Baseball presented by Nextel. They had a lot of rain earlier today in New York, but right now it's a beautiful night for a ball game. The big ballpark in the big city, the Yankees and the Mets interleague play. We'll show you that full Mets promo later in our broadcast. It's all tonight on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball. And it's just a beautiful night for a ball game after having rain through much of the day. Here's the Nextel batting order for Joe Torre's New York Yankees. Knobloch at the top, then Jeter, and then the red-hot Bernie Williams, who has had an amazing month of June.
Well, the Yankees have not scored a lot of runs. They've been struggling, and it starts, I think, at the top with Knobloch. If you look, his on-base percentage is .351, which is not good, and that's one of the problems. They have not had a lot of opportunities for those guys down the order to hit. Even Jeter has struggled lately.
Rick Reed, he's been the Mets' best, 7-2 with a 2.62 earned run average, and he rarely walks anybody. Look at that, 96 in the third innings, only 11 walks, and hitters only hitting .212.
Well, he patterns himself after Greg Maddux. He uses a lot of different fastballs. Most of the time he throws fastballs. There's a four-seamer, which is the riding fastball, and the two-seamer's a sinking fastball. And he has an excellent changeup, and he has a good slider and the curveball. He has all the pitches. He doesn't throw a lot of curveballs. He will throw the changeup, the fastball, and the slider more than anything else. But like Maddux, he works off of the fastball.
So Rick Reed to Chuck Knobloch. Knobloch, who is hitting only .262. He does have 23 stolen bases. That's been a big part of the Yankees game. So shutting down the Yankees can start with keeping Knobloch off the base paths. So here we go from Shea Stadium. And Knobloch chasing that high fastball.
And I think we'll see, John, I think you'll see a lot of hitters swing at the first pitch with Rick Reed, because that may be the best pitch that you'll see, because he will try to get ahead of the hitters. And so a lot of times players go up there looking for the first pitch fastball and swing at it.
High and tight. 1 ball, 1 strike. Knobloch hitting only .224 in the month of June, but going to late April, he was hitting about .380. And it's hit under 200 since then. Broken bat. As he playing for Rutherford, playing second base with regular second baseman Edgardo Alfonso on the disabled list.
And just a couple of years ago, they were talking about this Mets infield of Ventura, Ordonez, and Alfonso being the best ever. And now you see Ordonez 7 errors already this season. Rutherford has 6 errors. So that, again, as I said at the open, they're not playing good defense. They're not hitting, and they're not pitching that well. And there you see Rutherford. He's taking over for Alfonso tonight. Edgardo's on the defense, on the disabled list. And Ordonez made a crucial error in yesterday's ball game.
Derek Jeter. A fastball in there for a strike. Even Jeter has been struggling in the month of June. Jeter hitting only .190 this month. His overall average at .285. And that's a foul out of play. So quickly Reed is ahead of Jeter. 0-2. Bernie Williams on deck. Rick Reed, who is 36 years old. He grew up in West Virginia. He was a great Cincinnati Reds fan. And he wanted to be a catcher when he was a kid because he idolized Johnny Bench.
I idolized Johnny Bench as well, but I didn't want to be a catcher.
That's because you're smart. 0-2 the count. Just off the outside. Mets fans wanted that call. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Reed went to Marshall University in 1986. He was just an out-of-shape, once-a-week semi-pro pitcher in Huntington, West Virginia. He wanted to play pro ball. He went to 5 tryout camps, but nobody was interested. Down and in. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Finally, he impressed the Pittsburgh Pirates enough that they signed him for a bonus of $500, but they said, you're going to have to lose some weight, kid. So he said he just quit eating, and he lost 30 pounds in 2 weeks.
I think that'll work. If you just stop eating, you probably lose some weight.
Pretty radical. Jeter chasing that outside fastball, and Rutherford Throws him out. Jeter hustling up the line, but they got him by a step.
And
Two down.
That was perfect pitching there by Rick Reed. He pitched him inside, got him looking for a ball inside, and then he goes back away, and all he can do is reach. See, after a couple of pitches inside off the plate, he goes back away, and you see Jeter just reach for it. And that's what Rick Reed does so well. He sets up his out pitches. Whether he's going to pitch you in to get you out or away, he sets them up. He set Knobloch up by going away, and then he pitched him in, and he went just the opposite with Jeter. But we'll see how he pitches Bernie Williams, because at this point, there's not really any way to pitch Bernie. He's swinging the bat really well. He's handling the pitches in, out, up, and down.
Bernie, in the month of June, has been extraordinarily hot.
Well, that's a good way of pitching, right down the middle. He gets him take one.
The last place he was looking for one.
Yeah.
Bernie is hitting .464 in the month, the highest in the big leagues. And he's had 7 home runs. Only Barry Bonds and Jim Thome have homered more often in the month of June. He's quickly behind in the count. It is 0-2.
And you see what makes Reed so difficult to handle. His fastball is not straight, although he's able to spot it on the inside or the outside, but it's not straight. There's good movement on it.
Bernie hits one high in the air to deep right field. Going way back there is McEwing at the wall. This one is gone. 1-0 Yankees. Bernie Williams lights one up again. His 8th home run of the month.
Well, he hit a home run in straightaway center field in yesterday's ball game to start up the game off in the first inning. Now he goes away. If you're going to pitch Bernie inside, that's where you try to pitch him. This pitch should have been more off the plate. You see that pitch gets a lot of the plate. Watch, this pitch is supposed to be off the plate inside. It's no balls and 2 strikes. But he gets the plate, and Bernie does the rest. He didn't drill it, but he got enough of it to get it over the 371 mark in right field.
Now Tino Martinez, who has been the antithesis of Bernie Williams lately. First ball swinging. A changeup, and Ordonez throws him out, and just like that, the inning is over. But Bernie Williams hits an 0-2 pitch out of the ballpark, and the Mets are coming up, trailing. Nothing. The Yankees leading the Mets as we go to the last half of the first inning from Shea Stadium. Here is the next batting order for the New York Mets, is turned in by manager Bobby Valentine. Benny Agbayani, the Hawaiian Nightmare, hitting leadoff, and then Tsuyoshi Shinjo. Here's one of the Mets changes since last year's World Series, hitting number 2.
Well, they've got Agbayani hitting first because they're trying to get some runners on base. He's not your typical leadoff hitter because he doesn't have a lot of speed, but he can hit. And I like Agbayani. I think he's a good player. And they had Timo Perez up there, but he wasn't getting on base. So they've decided to go a different route tonight.
And the pitcher for the Yankees is 25-year-old left-hander Ted Lilly. And Lilly, who was acquired originally for the Montreal Expos in a trade in December of 1999. That was the Hideki Irabu trade when the Yankees sent him off to Montreal. He was a former 23rd round draft choice. And they are hoping that he's ready for prime time, Joe, because their rotation is hurting right now.
Well, let's take a look at the defense behind Lilly. Derek Jeter at shortstop. He got off to a very slow start. He made 8 errors in his first 38 ball games, and now he's on a 24-game errorless streak. So he's playing great at shortstop again.
And that's a ball outside. Benny Agbayani, I mean, this guy had some big hits. Mets fans can never forget the dramatic home run he hit against the San Francisco Giants in that pivotal Game 3 of the best-of-5 division series. That won the game. That's a called strike, 1 ball, 1 strike. He also got the winning hit in the only game the Mets won in last year's World Series. That was in the 8th inning against El Duque, right here in this ballpark. To shortstop, there's Jeter. Agbayani is retired. Tino Martinez stretching out to bring that throw in.
Jeter was a little bit off balance right there, but the one thing he did properly is he caught the ball out in front of him. He was reaching out in front of him with both hands. Watch, see that? He reaches out and catches it in front of him. As long as your momentum is going forward and you catch the ball out in front, you will catch the ball most of the time. He looked a little bit off balance, but he really did everything else properly.
Now here is Tsuyoshi Shinjo, the less heralded outfielder from Japan. Of course, Ichiro with the Seattle Mariners has gotten most of the publicity, and deservedly so. Not only has he played extremely well, his club is setting the baseball world on fire right now. So Shinjo fouls one off, 1 ball, 1 strike, but Bobby Valentine shudders to think where the Mets would be. I mean, as poor as they've been, where they'd be without Shinjo, hitting .286. He plays a strong outfield, and he's been outstanding in the clutch. Let's go Shinjo.
But that also tells you one of the problems with the Mets. They didn't expect Shinjo to be an everyday player that they depended on to produce a lot of runs. They expected him to be an extra outfielder to do a few things for them. But he has been thrust in their everyday starting lineup. And again, that outfield just doesn't have any power in it when you look at the Mets outfield.
Ted Lilly now with a 3-1 count to Shinjo. Lilly, once one was considered one of the Dodgers' best prospects before he was dealt to Montreal. Shinjo lifts one up in the twilight, shallow center, and Bernie Williams. Out number 2. And now Mike Piazza will come up with nobody on base. And for Mets fans, this is an all too familiar sight. Piazza coming up there with nobody on and a chance for the pitcher to pitch around him if he wants.
John, I watched yesterday's ball game, and I really watched Mike Piazza closely. I also watched him a little bit on Friday night. And he's a little different Mike Piazza than what we're used to seeing. You know, Mike Piazza always hit the ball right center, left center. It just appears to me that he's moving off the ball just a little bit, something that he never really did before. He always stayed right there and attacked the ball.
And that's too low. Now, Piazza has had 64 at-bats this year with men in scoring position. Just by comparison, Paul O'Neill, who has been hitting out of the 3rd spot in the order for quite some time now for the Yankees, has had 83 such at-bats. So there have not been that many RBI opportunities for Piazza. Plus, a lot of times in those kind of spots when there are men on base, even then they pitch around him. He's only hitting .219 in those clutch at-bats. But here he's got nobody on base. Todd Zeile on deck. And Zeile is another guy who has not started to hit yet. Not with power anyway. Zeile, who was always a 25 to 30 home run man, has only 3 home runs. He's on deck. 1-0. The Yankees lead last of the 1st. Got now 2-1 Piazza, a lifetime .325 hitter, but into the game hitting only .265. And he had to get pretty hot just to get it up to .265.
Well, he is arguably the best hitting catcher ever. I mean, he put up numbers no other catcher has ever put up.
Don Zimmer, who had some quotes regarding Piazza in the recent Esquire magazine. See, I never knew Zimmer was such a controversial character. Ripping guys out there. Got a book out now. Big in Esquire. He's become a tabloid favorite. 3-1 the count to Piazza. Ooh, just missing on the inside. Piazza draws the walk. By the way, the Esquire article we're talking about is that Piazza made a little man out of himself. I don't care who knows it. I lost a little respect for Piazza, and he was talking about Piazza's comments last summer after Piazza was beamed at Yankee Stadium by Roger Clemens. Piazza was told about the comments. He said, hey, whatever, dude, can we get another opinion on the subject? Can we basically take a poll of every player that's ever gotten hit?
Well, I have to agree with Mike Piazza. I mean, if he wants to think that Roger Clemens threw him, that's his prerogative. He was the one standing in the batter's box.
Zeile has a base hit to left field. Piazza will stop at second. So Zeile, who is not waving Piazza on here. Piazza said that was why he took that ill-advised dash to the plate Friday night. Zeile was in second, waving him on.
Well, you could see that Posada was set up inside. The ball moves back out over the plate a little bit, tails back, as a lot of left-handers' fastballs will do. It tails away from the right-handed hitter. and he drills it in the hole for a base hit.
Now Robin Ventura, who is actually having a very strong year for the Mets. 278 average, 14 homers, 35 batted in. He too has not had that many RBI opportunities, relatively speaking. Ball knocked down by Posada, and Piazza holds at second base. 1-0, the Yankees are leading in the first inning. But going back to this, the Piazza comment, I think it should be pointed out before he made the comment, and I think he made it in a humorous way about, can we take a poll of guys who've been hit? He also said, hey, I respect a guy who's loyal to his team, which was his take on what Zimmer was saying, being loyal to his guy, Roger Clemens. 2-0 to Ventura. Don Zimmer. Now, Zimmer didn't actually play with Babe Ruth and Ty Cobb, did he? It just seems that way. 2-0 the count to Ventura. And 3-0. But the point being, I guess ultimately, especially in our context on Sunday Night Baseball, is that all has led up to the reason that Roger Clemens is not pitching this game right now for the Yankees. He could have. And they aligned the rotation to do it, but he opted to give everybody an extra day. 3-0 pitch. That's a strike. 3-1.
I don't think there was any doubt there that Robin Ventura had the hit sign there. He just didn't like the location, or he didn't pick the ball up as quickly as he'd like, because I guarantee you in these situations, Bobby Valentine's going to let guys like Ventura, Zeal, and Piazza hit.
Changed up on him.
And that's something that you do not expect a lot of from Lilly. He has a fastball, throws a pretty good curveball, he throws a cutter, but he doesn't throw a lot of changeups, and especially to a left-handed hitter. But you can see Ventura way out in front.
1-0 Yankees, 2 down. Piazza from second, Zeal from first. Ready to take off with this pitch. There they go. That one is hit deep down the line. If it's fair, it's gone. It is hooking. It is foul.
And the funny thing, if you're a hitter, just about any time a guy throws you a changeup like that on 3-1, he comes back with a fastball. And Ventura was ready for it. He just got out in front just a little bit. That ball looked like it might have even been off the plate inside. It was tailing in, which made him have to really turn on it. And he doesn't miss the foul pole by much.
We have both Mets and Yankee fans populating Shea Stadium tonight. 2 on, 2 out. 3-2 the count. The runners go. Check swing, ball 4. And so the bases are loaded. The Mets in the first inning, which has not been a profitable inning for them. The Mets have very rarely started ahead of games, and Bobby Valentine knows that oh so well. They've only scored 15 runs in the first inning of their 68 games this year. By far the fewest first inning runs in the majors. And Mike Piazza and Robin Ventura, neither one has hit well in the first inning. Ventura's only had 3 hits in 32 at-bats in the first innings of games this year. And that puts a little more pressure on a pitching staff when your team never scores early. Mel Stottlemyre, the Yankee pitching coach, and a longtime Mets pitching coach, out to visit with Lilly for a moment. And here is Joe McEwing. McEwing has only had 1 hit all year with a runner in scoring position. 1 for 16. He's got the bases loaded right here, and Lilly will work from the windup. 1 ball and no strikes. The Yankees with Andy Pettitte on the disabled list now. El Duque, Orlando Hernandez, It's surgery on his foot. He'll be lost until maybe late July or early August. And the changeup up and away. It is 2-0 to McEwen.
Well, you have to watch Lilly, too, because a good base runner can force him to balk. Because watch, he starts and then he stops. You're not supposed to stop. He brings his hands up to his chest. You're supposed to continue your motion when you're in the wind-up position. Now watch when he puts his hands together, he's supposed to continue on through his motion. See, that's a stop. I mean, that's a balk right there.
3-0. He had 2 down and nobody out when he walked Piazza. Zeal got a first pitch single. And he walked Ventura. Now he's 3-0 to McEwen. Relaford on deck.
See how he continued in? That's not a balk.
That's a strike. So a different looking.
Yeah, you're not supposed to. Once you start from the windup, you can't stop. If he brings his hands together down low, comes up to his chest and stops, that's a balk.
McEwen trying to deliver in the clutch for the Mets. Ted Lilly up to his chest. In the windup.
I have to give the guy a lot of credit. He throws a 3-1 changeup and he gets it over the plate. I mean, he's thrown fastballs that he can't get over the plate. Now he gets behind. He throws a 3-1 changeup. Maybe that's what he needs to throw here, 3-2. Because that seems to be the pitch that he has the best control of.
Piazza, Zeal, and Ventura will be off and running. There they go. 3-2 pitch. It's too low. Piazza forced home with the walk, and it is tied up at 1.
Well, he goes back to the fastball. He threw a 3-1 changeup, but like I say, most of the time a pitcher will throw you a changeup. On 3-1, he doesn't want to throw another one 3. But that seems to be the pitch that he's able to get over the plate best.
Now Desi Relaford, who is playing in place of the injured Edgardo Alfonso. He's hitting .291 in 110 at bats, 3 home runs, bases loaded, 2 down. And he's low. He has walked 3 of the last 4 hitters. And Posada goes out to visit with him. 28 pitches, most of them out of the strike zone. Zimmer, or rather Torrey, talking with his pitching coach, Mel Stottlemyre there. The Yankees have been real thin in their pitching staff. We mentioned only 2 of the big 4 veterans that they had for their rotation are able to pitch right now. They got 3 young guys in the rotation. Pettit is out. El Duque is out. And he's only had confidence in a couple of his relievers. Now they put Ramiro Mendoza back in the bullpen. 1-0 the count. Tried a slider and got it over. Joe, you pointed out about Lilly. And after that first pitch of the sequence, Valentine. One strike. A half swing bouncer. Jeter throws it out. So the Mets get the 1 to tie the game. 3 men left. Posada and then O'Neill coming up. It's 1. Top of the 2nd inning now as we reconvene at Shea Stadium. And Jorge Posada will lead off for the Yankees. When we saw the Yanks last Sunday night in their game with Atlanta, Posada was still not able to catch. He was being used as a DH. He's back in there now. And he has, with Bernie Williams, been the only Yankee hitter, the 2 of them the only hitters to have hit well in June. Rick Reed, a little bit low on the outside with a sinking fastball. 1 ball and no strikes.
I watched the Atlanta Braves, and I saw, Greg Maddux a couple times. It seemed like he was pitching, very tough to Bernie Williams. He ended up walking him a couple of times. I don't see why you pitch to a guy who is as hot as he is. He started the game out with a home run yesterday, and you let him do it again today. I mean, with 2 outs, sometimes you have to pitch around the hot hitter.
2-0 count. And Tino Martinez, who's hitting behind Bernie, is hitting only 150 for the month of June. It's a foul out of play. 2-1 to Posada. I mean, Rick Reed, I shudder to think what the Mets would be without Rick Reed. I mean, he has really blossomed. He has always kind of patterned himself after Greg Maddux. They tell us that he watches tapes of Maddox's starts all the time, studying what the master does, because he's got similar kind of approach, similar kind of stuff. Mike Piazza once called him Greg Maddux light.
Poor man's Greg Maddux. They called him a lot of different things, but he does pattern himself after Maddux, and I don't think you could pick a better guy to pattern yourself after.
And he strikes out Posada. Now let's get an update, and here is Brian Kenny.
John, Nextel takes it to San Diego. Padres and Mariners. Ex-Yankee Jeff Nelson, before this series, hadn't given up a run since April 6th, but hadn't given up a home run until this. Ex-Met Bubba Trammell, a 2-run shot. It's 11-9 in the top of the 9th. Trevor Hoffman is on to try and close it out. And a reminder, the U.S. Open Championship playoff begins tomorrow on ESPN at noon Eastern time. It continues on NBC at 2 Eastern. Retief Goosen, Mark Brooks, they'll play 18 tomorrow. John?
All right, and there's ball 1 too low to Paul O'Neill. Well, Jeff Nelson and Bubba Trammell having their own little subway series out there in San Diego. 2 guys that might have faced each other last year in the World Series against one another. Nelson's been spectacular, but he gave up 3 Friday night in San Diego. Zeal. And O'Neill is quickly gone. 2 men down. O'Neill came into the game hitting 260 for the year.
18, Scott Brocious.
Mike Piazza is wearing mask cam tonight for us, which puts us right down in the home plate area. And we're very grateful to him for agreeing to do so. Mike Piazza ought to, Major League Baseball ought to sign him on to give seminars about how to be gracious with the media. There's the ball too low. I mean, Piazza is dragging. Everybody can see it in his body language. I mean, he's playing a tough position. He's playing every day, trying to help his club get out of this slump. And yet, he just cannot be more gracious when asked for an interview or to be asked about controversial topics such as the Zimmer quote from the magazine, that sort of thing. And he always seems to handle it with good humor as well as graciously.
Well, nothing seems to bother him, and I think that makes him perfect for New York, because there's always something going on.
2-1. Here's Don Zimmer. Come on, Zim. You lost respect for him? Come on. 2-1 the count. And there's a ball too low. One thing is for sure, Piazza usually is hitting about 80 or 90 points higher this time of year than he is right now. Sometimes in September you'll see his average slide a little bit as the toll of all of those games behind the plate. And it takes a whack against his batting average. There's Brocious getting a walk. Scott Brocious with a 2-out walk against Reed. One of the 12th walk allowed by Reed this year in 98 innings. But Piazza, in an article in the New York Times, allowed us out if the Mets wanted to talk to him about maybe going to another position at the end of the year, looking ahead to next year, then he would be willing to talk to him about it. He is 32 years old. He's at that age where historically many catchers started to break down. There's a called strike to Alfonso Soriano, including your old friend, your idol, Johnny Bench. Alfonso Soriano taking that first pitch strike. The first month of the season, he wasn't taking any pitches, strikes or otherwise. The inside, strike 2. But those are not fat pitches that he's taking. Soriano, a weapon if he gets on base. He has stolen 20 bases. There's Steve Phillips, general manager of the Mets, one of the few times that could catch him without a phone the Mets general manager, talking trade apparently to many teams looking to improve the Mets. Soriano going up after that one, fouling it out of play. 0-2.
It was interesting. I went in to see Joe Torre today, and on my way out, Brian came in and said, "Let me talk to you a minute, Joe." They went in and closed the door. So I went around the corner. I went over to see Bobby Valentine. I walked in, and he said hello. And Steve Phillips said, "Give us a few minutes. We're getting ready to talk." They closed the door. So a lot of things going on here in New York right now.
Both clubs.
I don't think they were talking to each other, though.
Brian Cashman, the youthful-looking general manager of the Yankees, striped shirt. Pitch out, but Brocious was not running. Piazza has only thrown out one base stealer since May the 23rd.
And I think a pitch out is effective, John, for a couple of reasons. It doesn't matter whether you get the guy or not. It lets them know that you will pitch out, and it'll make them a little more cautious when they get on the bases.
1-2 the count. Soriano just got a piece of it. What do you think the odds of Soriano getting a walk here are, Joe? He has walked 7 times this year. He's had 241 official at-bats. And Reed has only walked 12 guys the whole year.
Yeah, the chances are that he will put the ball in play or he will strike out. He's not going to walk, especially with a 1-2 count.
Brocious back to the bag. Seal on the bag with it. 1-1 the score, second inning. I mean, his walks this year are way down from last year. And they were outstanding last year. Oh, man, he took one. Strike 3 call. Pretty fat looking pitch there on 2 strikes for Soriano to be taken. 1-1. We'll be back. Jam in the first with only 1 run scoring, but Joe Morgan detected something in his windup with men on base that looks like a balk.
Well, anytime you start from a windup, you have to continue. So he's going to a set position from the windup.
Now Bobby Valentine wearing a mic. Here's his reaction to that.
Can't stop now. It's a balk if he stops.
And that's exactly correct. If you stop, it's a balk. Once you start your motion, you have to continue from the windup.
So there's a lot of similarities between you and Bobby Valentine. You know, I've noticed that.
No.
There's ball 1 from Ted Lilly to Ray Ordonez, the Mets shortstop, the 8th place hitter. Rick Reed will follow, the pitcher, and then leadoff man Benny Agbayani.
Well, just watching from the windup, he continues his motion. See, he doesn't stop. Once you put your hands together and start your motion, you have to continue from the windup.
So that's what he should be doing with the bases loaded.
Exactly. You shouldn't. There's nothing changing. You can't go to a set position from the windup, and that's what he's doing. And that's what Bobby was yelling about.
1-1 the count. And that's back onto the screen. 1-2 to Ordonez. Ordonez, who missed most of last year with injury, back now, but hitting only .219. 19 runs batted in.
John, he could start with his glove up by his chest and put his hand in and go like that, but you can't start from the bottom and do it.
Assuming when he's bent over at the waist like he was.
And he raises, starts up, he has to continue his motion.
2-2 the count to Ordonez. Ted Lilly making his 10th start of the year tonight, a rookie. Slider too far in. 3-2. It's very rare for Yankee teams to have rookies make this many starts early in the year. Only 4 of the rookie pitchers have started this many games this early in the season since 1970. Andy Pettit was one. Al Leiter, when he was a Yankee, 1988. Bob Tewksbury and Doc Medich, 1973. Wow, that was ball 4 by plenty. Not even close.
Well, the one thing you can't do is help a guy out when he is as erratic as Lilly has proven to be in the first inning and a third. This fastball is way up and out of the strike zone.
I mean, Ordonez, he's been around a while now, Joe, to be swinging the pitches like that. I mean, he's no longer the young guy who just fled Cuba and landed on these shores. He's been a big leaguer for a long time.
Well, it really hurts because if he takes the walk, then you have Rick Reed up there in a bunting situation, maybe try to get the tying run to second base.
Those are those kind of little things that have been talked about this weekend that always seem to work against the Mets in these tight ball games with the Yankees. The last 11 games that these teams have played against each other, all 11 of them, including last year's World Series, have been decided by 2 runs or less. And the Yankees have won 9 of those 11 games. Always tight, but almost always a Yankee win. 3-0 to Reed. And 3-1. We're just double checking, Joe, about Ray Ordonez. He's 28 years old now. 3-1 the count. And 3-2.
Good job there by Reed, though, to go ahead and take and make him throw another strike.
And he did. Strike 3. 2 down.
The left fielder, number 50, Benny Agbayani.
We're going to show you what Bobby Valentine and I were talking about. See, he comes set. That's a set position from the windup, and then he throws. That's a balk, just a clear balk. It's not even close. You see, on the right with the bases empty, he just goes and continues his motion, and that's the correct way. Once you start, you cannot stop from the windup.
Leadoff man Benny Agbayani.
But I have to admit, I'm surprised that Valentine has not even gone out and made more of a case against that. Because, I mean, it's clearly a balk. Even though he yelled the balk, I thought he should have gone out and talked to the umpires.
2-0 now to Agbayani. Final from San Diego. The Padres, after first blowing a 9-5 lead, Bubba Trammell's home run, his second of the game. They won over the Mariners 11-9. I'm stunned.
The Mariners lost one. Huh?
They had won 20 of their last 22.
But I think they were trailing 9-3 or something. It came back and tied it.
Way behind. But they lost. The last time a team actually roughed them up was the Yankees in Seattle. They won 2 out of 3, and since then, before today, Seattle had gone 20-2. Agbayani takes a strike. 3-2 the count. You know, Benny, his life has changed now since he became an October figure last year. Postseason hero. He wrote a book called Big League Survivor, released earlier this year. Right over to Brocious. And Agbayani is now 0 for 2. So the Mets go down quietly against Ted Lilly. It is 1-1 as we head to the 3rd inning. Well, it won't be long before they'll be playing baseball in Brooklyn again. There's the new home of the Brooklyn Cyclones out at Coney Island. And they start playing in that league in just a couple of days. And their home opener, I believe, is next Saturday there. Beautiful ballpark. They sold a lot of tickets for it already as Ted Lilly swings and misses at the first offering from Rick Reed. And it is 0-1. A 1-1 tie here. Baseball back in Brooklyn. And Edgar Alfonso, the Mets' Edgardo Alfonso, his brother, is the manager of the Brooklyn team. And Bobby Ojeda, former Mets pitcher, is the pitching coach out there. A drag bunt attempt by Lilly. Wow, an American League pitcher who almost never bats, attempting a drag bunt. And the count, 1-2 strike. Keyspan Park out there in Coney Island. Beautiful location. It looked like you had the ocean out beyond right field. There's the pier. And then the ballpark. You'd really have to crush one to get one into the water there. One Barry Bonds. See how far he can hit one. Let's see him hit one there into the water. Lilly low from Rick Reed. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Lilly himself having allowed just 1 run, but he's faced 10 batters. He's going to a 3-ball count on 7 of them. But he's in a 1-1 tie. And lifts the foul out of play. A little controversy yesterday when Mike Messina drove in what proved to be the winning run against Kevin Apier. He hit an Apier curveball. Apier said it was a good curveball. But some said, well, why throw a curveball to a pitcher? And It's low, ball 3. And he struck him out with the fastball. And there is one away. Next Sunday night, we'll be in St. Louis. Barry Bonds, 36 homers. Big Mac, headed for 600. The Giants and the Cardinals, 8 Eastern, 7 Central, 5 Pacific.
Nuestros partidos de béisbol están disponibles en español a través de ESPN Deportes. Llame a su operador de cable local o DirecTV. Para más información, conéctese a espndeportes.com.
All Sunday night telecasts are available in Spanish on ESPN Deportes. For more information, dial up espndeportes.com. Chuck Knobloch to shortstop. Ordonez at number 2. By the way, the Cardinals got some real bad news today. J.D. Drew will be out at least 6 weeks. He suffered a broken hand. He was hit by a David Wells pitch today in the game with the White Sox. Drew is just having a great early season for the Cardinals. It's something that we're going to talk about a little bit later, Joe. A lot of guys don't seem to be able to get out of the way of a pitch the way that they used to. Guys that like Willie Mays and Frank Robinson and whatnot. 0-1 to Jeter.
Well, everyone's approach to hitting now is a little different than it was before. Everything goes through cycles. Pitchers went through a cycle where they were pitching everyone away, so the hitter's approach changed.
Jeter grounded to second his first time. 1-1. The Yankees got a home run from Bernie Williams in the first inning. Roches drew a second inning walk. Under reach base so far. That is a called strike. 1-2. Yankees and the Mets.
Yeah, but you also have the New York Police Department sitting right between them. Right in the back there. Right there. And that's what you need sometimes here.
These families with Mets and Yankee fans said I've had to hire a bodyguard. Ordonez throws out Jeter. 3 up and 3 down. And now Shinjo, followed by Mike Piazza and Todd Zeile. It's 1-1. Baseball presented by Nextel. Yankees won, Mets won. Last of the third inning from Shea Stadium. And it's the look from high overhead. The Monster.com blimp providing us with great views of the action. Monster.com. Job good, life good. Glad to have them with us. Tsuyoshi Shinjo from the Japanese leagues. He took a lot less money to come here to try and prove himself in the major leagues than he could have made having stayed in Japan. That's a ball in the dirt from Ted Lilly. 2-0 the count.
Well, the numbers I read were astronomically different.
You haven't gotten over it yet.
No, I mean, it was like he turned down $10 million to play for 500 or 200,000 or something.
Like 20 times as much.
Yes.
That's called. Now that's a guy
who wants to play in the major leagues.
To go and find out what he's got against the best. When he says it's not about the money, he meant it. Yeah. And it was caught by Paul O'Neill. 1 away, and Mike Piazza coming up.
Well, we've talked to several hitters about their approach to hitting, and we asked Mike Piazza what are the keys to his swing.
Ted Williams, I remember there's 3 keys of hitting. There's number 1, you got to get a good pitch to hit. And if you're swinging at balls, you know, there's no reason for the pitcher to throw you a strike. I want to feel relaxed. I want to try to eliminate tension out of my swing. You try not to break down as a hitter. I mean, and that means, you know, getting way off balance. I try to keep my balance, and obviously my strengths are to the middle of the field. You know, I can hit the ball hard to center field or right center.
So here is Piazza. He walked his first time against Lilly and scored a run. 1-1 the score, third inning. Tried to throw the breaking ball, missed badly with it. 1 ball and no strikes.
Well, what he said is he tries to keep from breaking down. What that means is he doesn't get his body out over his front foot. See this front knee, if this knee bends and you get your body out over that, that's breaking down. See, he's still hitting against a strong front side. That's what you try to do. So that's what he means when he says he doesn't want to break down. You get out over your front knee and you're dead. You don't have any power left.
I think Ted Lilly figures if Piazza even swings at a pitch, that Lilly is dead. I mean, he's not throwing him anything. 2-0. Oh, man. I beg your pardon.
Good fastball there.
Turn 1 the count.
And watching Lilly's motion, John, the ball probably looks like it jumps on you because he's got that slow delivery and the ball just kind of gets there, but he doesn't really throw that hard.
3-1. It's a little bit of an odd delivery. Kind of, instead of stepping toward the plate, he steps off to the side.
Well, he throws across his body, which helps him to hide the ball. That also, causes you to be a little more erratic. That helps him to hide the ball from the hitter. But again, it's not a normal pitching pattern where you're stepping straight to where you're throwing.
Piazza, over 100 RBIs, 5 consecutive years. His worst year in those last 5 years, he had 32 homers. 6 straight years with 32 homers or more. Here's Todd Zeile. Speaking of home runs, Bobby Valentine and the Mets would like to see Zeile start to pop a few. I mean, this guy's been pretty consistent. Getting his 22, 25. 1997, he had 31 with the Dodgers, but only 3 so far this year. Gino Martinez on the bag of Piazza. And Piazza's going to move over to second base.
But you can see him making sure there. Piazza was thrown out at home plate in yesterday's ball game, and the ball bounced away on the infield, but he was making sure this ball got away before he took off for second. And you can see it's a wild pitch. Now watch it. He stops. He says, well, it's far enough away I can go.
And Zeile waved him again, Joe. I noticed that. Zeile was actually the trailing runner, having hit a double on Friday night. And Piazza looked back as he got to third, saw Zeile waving him on, and he took off.
Yeah, it was Friday night. Yesterday was 2-1.
They lost that game 5-4. They would have had runners at second and third in the 8th inning and 1 out with Ventura coming up. Instead, Piazza was out, 2 down. Ventura made the final out of the inning.
Tells you how long I've been in New York. I've been here a few days.
You get here early, preparing.
I watched both games.
I'm awed. And that one off the glove of Posada. That will probably be a pass ball as Piazza goes to third base.
Well, it seemed like a changeup or something, and Posada just reached for it.
Well, this was Friday, Joe, the play we're talking about. Zeile, the hitter.
Well, Piazza wasn't sure if Shane Spencer was going to catch it. You see, he got close to it. Now, Spencer comes up, throws to second base. No one is there. Jeter and Alfonso Soriano was near first base. Now he takes off, and you can see it wasn't even close at the plate. But one of the other shots I saw on Friday was you could see Zeile waving him on, not the third base coach John Stearns. It was Todd Zeile telling him to go.
And Piazza said it was so frustrating. He says the Mets can't seem to get through a series with the Yankees without some mistake or controversy or bizarre incident. Always something like that. Runner at third, the infield in. Zeile hits one deep down the right field line. That one is foul. Wasn't that far foul either. Home run distance. 15, 20 feet foul.
It's interesting. We've watched Lilly. We've walked several hitters, but he hasn't ever used his changeup as his out pitch. He's used it to keep the hitters off balance, but never his out pitch. He has not thrown, in this situation here, he hasn't thrown the changeup with 2 strikes on a hitter.
And now Posada's going to go visit with him again. By the way, that second pitch, they changed their scoring call. They're going to call that a wild pitch as well. So 2 wild pitches moving him to third. Bobby Valentine wearing a microphone. Here's what he was talking about a moment ago.
Whoa! Hey! No barking allowed!
Well, now he's in a stretch, so it's okay to go to a set position.
Zeal pops his foul, back out of play. Zeal trying to get the go-ahead run home. That was when he had gone for the windup again with a runner at third base, as he had in the first inning.
And anytime he does that, he's been balking. So that's why I'm sure they put him into the stretch, because I think someone else realizes, that he's balking.
The Mets in a 1-1 tie. Todd Zeal, the veteran, trying to get the veteran Mike Piazza home. The infield in halfway now, up the middle. Slider just got. Jeter and Soriano had been all the way in, but once it got to 2 strikes, it's a 3-2 count. They moved back halfway. There you see how they play it. Roche's stepped back a couple of steps.
Well, there's really no reason to play all the way in with a guy like Piazza running at third base. All you're doing really is giving Zeal more hole to hit through. You play halfway, you can still throw Piazza out at the plate if he goes.
1 out. The cleanup hitter of the Mets at the plate. And he has hit well in these spots this year. And he strikes out on a slider down around his ankles.
The third baseman.
It may sound strange, John, but it's very difficult sometimes to hit a guy who is erratic as Lilly is. One's up, one's down, one's in, one out. You can't get any rhythm in the batter's box. You never know exactly where the pitch is going to be. And he throws him a good pitch, 3-2, and he gets away and strikes him out. But it's very difficult sometimes to hit a guy who is all over the place as a pitcher.
Here's Robin Ventura, the infield back to normal depth. Hello.
That appeared to be the changeup, but it got away from him.
Very slow delivery. Ball and no strikes to Ventura. Piazza at third. And the slider in there for a strike.
Looks like he has a very good slide piece. I mean, the ball looks like it moves late. It breaks late.
Back at a 1-1 count, although he has started behind all but 2 of the Mets batters tonight. 1-1 the count. That's the fast piece. Is it a fast piece?
No, that's just dead red.
Dead red.
Dead red.
So there's dead red, and then there's a slide piece.
Yeah.
As a hitter, you prefer dead red.
On occasion.
Maybe a hanging slide piece.
Yes, okay.
And the slide piece.
Hey, Johnny, depending on how red it was. Hey, sometimes if they were red hot, I preferred the slide piece. That's a little slide piece there.
Not all dead reds.
No, or good reds.
We're equal.
Yeah.
2-2 to Robin Ventura. And the slider outside. Full count now. Now, he doesn't have to give in here. He's got first base open, but a right-handed hitter on deck. Joe McEwing. 3 balls and 2 strikes. It's the 10th time for the first 14 hitters of the night that Lilly has gone to a 3-ball count. And for the 5th time, he goes to a 4-ball count. I'm losing count here, Joe. 5 walks in 2 2/3 innings. Now McEwing, who drew a bases loaded walk, he's thrown 71 pitches already. We're only in the 3rd inning. Joe Torre, though, is sticking with Ted Lilly. No activity in the Yankees bullpen. Torre has been very particular about going to his bullpen what guys he will use in a tight ball game. This one obviously still very tight. 1-1, third inning. 2 on, 2 out. But what a laborious night for Ted Lilly. McEwing. Wow. He helped him out. Change up, down and away.
But it is difficult, John. I mean, you walk into the batter's box and you're looking for a pitch to hit. And a guy is just, he's all over the place. You just do not know what to expect as a hitter.
So you're cutting McEwing a little slack on that.
Yeah. Because it looked like he was starting out with a fastball over the outside part of the plate, but it really wasn't. It was a sinker away.
0-1 to McEwing. And the changeup outside again. The Mets 14th in the 16-team National League in batting average, 12th in runs per game, just barely over 4, 13th in home runs, and Piazza and Ventura have hit half of those. 1-1 the count. Slider over the outside, strike 2. Big pitch there for Ted Lilly, and now he's in on the count. 1 ball and 2 strikes. You know, most of this game has been Lilly playing catch with Posada. The batters and all of the Yankee defenders had just been standing and watching. Only 6 of the first 14 Mets batters have even put the ball in play. 1-2 the count. Slider got him looking. 5 walks, 2 wild pitches in 3 innings. Only 1 run. Trying to get him over to third. As hot as Bernie has been in June, that's as cold as Tino has been. He's hitting just above 150 in the month.
But the one thing Tino Martinez has always done, you know, in situations like this is make sure he pulls the ball. He usually does the job very well in getting Bernie over.
Foul up the third base side. And that drops back into the 4th row of the seats. 0-2.
This pitch seemed to fool Tino. You see Reed trying to go away, and he does get it away. That fastball's tailing away from Tino, and I think that late movement caused him to foul off to the left side. There you see the numbers for Tino, as you mentioned, in June. Very tough June.
9 homers, but 44 RBIs for the year.
And he got off to a great start this year. Hitting well over 300 this month.
Still second in the club in RBIs. Nobody out. Rick Reed in a 1-1 game pickoff play with Ordonez. Taking the throw, and they made it pretty close.
Well, this is a timing play. Reed just turns and fires to Ordonez, and Williams gets back.
0-2 to Tino. And he got jammed and fouled it back. That play at second base, Joe, is the catcher?
No, the pitcher and the shortstop, they have a sign together. And sometimes the pitcher will look at you. He turns his head. As soon as you see the back of his head, you take off for second base. And he just counts a second and turns and throws. Or there are times when he won't even look away. He'll start to look away and just turn. So it's a timing play that you work on in spring training, you work on all the time.
0-2 the count. Tino fouls another one off the fist, up and in. Got a piece of it. 0-2 the count.
That's a good job by Reed. He was away on the first couple of pitches. Tino tried to pull him, he couldn't. Then he comes inside, and Tino is late. But with 2 strikes, if you're Tino, you have to wait just a little bit longer to make sure it's not a changeup or something, and that fastball gets on you, and especially if he gets it on the inside half as he's done so far.
Bernie Williams led off the inning with a double. He's at second, nobody out. 0-2 to Tino Martinez. Off Reed. And it's going to be an infield hit for Martinez as Williams takes third.
Well, this appeared to be a slider or an off-speed pitch. He threw him a lot of fastballs. He's going for the strikeout. Yes, it's a changeup that runs away a little bit, and Tino just rips it right back through the middle. In fact, it's a ball. It's off the plate, away, but because it was a changeup, he was able to pull it, and he hit it right back through the middle. Off of Reed's leg, it appeared, but Reed says he's okay.
Scott Lawrenson, the trainer for the Mets. With Charlie Huff, the pitching coach. Well, the Mets had a great opportunity to go ahead in the third inning, but could not get the run home. Now the Yankees have runners at first and third with nobody out in the fourth inning.
And they have the right guy up there. Next to Bernie Williams, Jorge Posada is the right guy if you're a Yankee fan.
Posada is the Yankees' RBI leader. And for that matter, he's the home run leader. In fact, he's kind of bringing back memories of Yogi Berra. Yogi is the last Yankee catcher to have led the Yankees for a full season in both homers and RBIs. Yogi did it 3 straight years, 1951 through 53. No Yankee catcher's done it since. Slider in the middle, knocked down by Piazza. Good save there, holding the runners. This is one of the few 2-0 counts that Reed has had to deal with.
Well, you see the difference in him pitching to Bernie and pitching to Posada. Posada does have some holes. You can get him out with off-speed pitches. You see him throwing him a changeup, and then he comes with a curveball. Whereas you do not want to throw Bernie a lot of curveballs in the plate over the plate.
Big pitch right here to a hot hitter. Jorge Posada hitting over 400 for the full year with men in scoring position. Got the call. Sinking down and away with that fastball. 2-1 the count.
And this is the pitch he wanted Posada to hit. He's throwing the fastball away, try to get him to hit a ground ball someplace. You can see that ball clearly looked like it moved away if you're Posada, and Posada questioned it.
2-1 the count. He did well not to swing at it, though, as you said. That one is a base hit into right field. Bernie Williams scores. Tino Martinez will go to third. 2-1 Yankees. Still nobody out.
And this is a very good piece of hitting by Posada. He was away with a fastball. He tries to come inside with it look like either a cut fastball or a slider. See, it's either a cut fastball or a slider. As more of a cut fastball, he tries to come in on him right there, and Posada nails it. I mean, that's good hitting because he had gone away, and then he tries to jam him, and Posada's still able to get the barrel out in front.
And Posada came into the game hitting .431 with men in scoring position. And that's gone up. 2-1 Yankees. Here is Paul O'Neill. Sinking low and outside with a fastball. 1 ball and no strikes. O'Neill grounded out to first his first time. Now the Yankees have hopes of a big inning.
Well, and you have to give them credit. I mean, it was a good job by Tino to get to third base. He hustled all the way around to third base. And the Yankees have used their speed this year to take advantage of a lot of situations.
Down the left field line, a long run for Agbayani. Ordonez going out. Agbayani makes the catch. Tino tags, hits home. The throw. Brief. The ball flew out of the glove of Piazza, but Reed was there to back up. Wow, what a play by Agbayani for the catch, and still almost threw him out of the plate.
Well, I would have to try an appeal play if I was the Mets, because I looked and saw him catch the ball. We'll get a better look at it here. As soon as I saw him catch the ball, I looked up. Well, it looks like he stays. Tino got a great start because when I looked up, he was gone. Tough play by Agbayani. He comes up with it, and that slide allowed Tino to score. And very aggressive base running by the Yankees, and Randolph. There's the appeal.
And the home plate umpire has that call. That's Las Diaz. Rick Reed, the third base umpire, was out making sure of the catch. Now Bobby Valentine is out to talk to Diaz.
Like I say, this is an aggressive play by the Yankees, because if he's thrown out at the plate, and it was a very close play at the plate on a shallow ball to the outfield, I mean, you get a guy thrown out at the plate with one out, and it's a mistake, but he made it.
I think you could clearly see from that shot, with both of the parties in the shot, Tino did not leave too soon. Fastball too high to Scott Brocious. So a sacrifice fly for Paul O'Neill. The Yankees lead 3-1. Posada hanging on at first base. But man, what a play just for the catch by Agbayani, who had a long run. Remember, O'Neill's a left-handed hitter, and Agbayani was way out there and over toward left center a bit.
Well, he actually bounced up very quickly and got off a good throw to the plate.
There's a breaking ball for a strike on the outside. 1 ball, 1 strike now to Brocious, who walked his first time. But hey, that was the second part of the play. I mean, he just like that was on his feet throwing home. And we saw it from Mike Piazza's point of view as he was wearing mask cam. That is a foul off the right field line. The customers down there. McEwen gave a long run. But the Yankees got the run.
Well, that seems to happen when they're playing the Mets. Everything seems to work for the Yankees. But you have to remember, they force the issue, so they make things happen.
1 ball and 2 strikes to Brocious. Joe Torre. The big games seem to bring out the best in Torre's Yankees. Strike 3 call. 4th strikeout for Reed. 2 down. Now the U.S. Open golf playoffs. It's not over yet. An 18-hole extravaganza tomorrow on ESPN at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific, and on NBC at 2 o'clock Eastern. Retief Goosen and Mark Brooks both at 4 under. It's tomorrow on ESPN. If you'd like more information about what happened today in the U.S. Open, log on to ESPN.com. Here's Alfonso Soriano with Posada running, and the throw by Piazza. Got it. Second base umpire Demuth just ready to make sure that Ordonez held on to the ball. But the Yankees have gone ahead 3-1. Bernie Yanks up in the first inning with a home run. His hot June continuing. Then Ted Lilly issued a bases-loaded walk to Joe McEwen to tie it in the first. Piazza, who also had walked, scored. Then Jorge Posada in the 4th inning with a base hit to right to drive in Bernie Williams, who had doubled. The Yankees regained the lead. They got another run on a sacrifice fly by Paul O'Neill. All happening on Father's Day 2001. Happy Father's Day, Joe.
Happy Father's Day to you, John. And I want to say happy Father's Day to my father, Leonard Morgan, in Oakland, California. He's the one that taught me how to play this game.
He taught you it?
Yeah, he used to take me to all the Oakland Oaks games in the old days. That's how I learned about the game.
In Emeryville, California.
In Emeryville, California.
Once managed by Casey Stengel.
Once managed. You know a lot about that. That's right. You're from the same area. I keep forgetting that.
Well, my dad, Jerry Miller, who just celebrated his 70th birthday, he's now the same age as Willie Mays. Happy Father's Day to him, too. He taught me everything I know about being a broadcaster. Calls me every week. He says, try not talking so much. Let Joe in there a little more often.
My father says the same thing.
All right, Dad. Pitcher a little bit low. Right, Joe?
Right.
2-0 the count to Desi Relaford. And 2-1 now from Ted Lilly, who has now thrown 78 pitches already. He's been a busy man the first 3 innings. Most of this game has been Lilly throwing the ball to Posada. It's a foul. 2 balls, 2 strikes. There is Edgardo Alfonso. He's on the disabled list. He got some back problems. I mean, the Mets, there are a lot of guys who have track records like Alfonso. I mean, you consider he's going to hit his 300, hit his 25 homers, drive in 95, 100 runs. But he really has not played much at all this year. And he's been healthy.
Yeah, his back was bothering him. He just wasn't the same. And it's probably, if you're the Mets, it's best you get him healthy because it's a proven point so far this season that your offense has really struggled without a healthy Edgardo Alfonso and without Mike Piazza giving you the normal numbers that you're accustomed to coming from his bat. So the Mets, in my opinion, they have to try to gear themselves up the next 2 or 3 weeks to make a run. And if they can't, then they have to start thinking about next year.
Well, look at this. Piazza last year at this point was hitting almost 100 points higher. Alfonso is hitting over 90 points higher with twice as many RBIs.
And it may seem like, well, you say that's not a lot, but it is on a daily basis.
That slider just missed.
Because they've lost a lot of ball games by 1 run. They've lost the 2 games to the Yankees by 1 run Friday and Saturday. So it tells you that there are a lot of other games that they've lost by 1 run. If you add those runs in, it makes a big difference.
And ball 4. That is the 6th walk allowed by Ted Lilly.
Number 10.
From high above Shea Stadium in New York City. Those views of tonight's action being brought to us by Monster.com's East Coast Blimp, Trump. Now, where would they get a name like that? Monster.com. Job good, life good. There's Mel Stottlemyre on his way to the mound. There's really an amazing Mets connection in that Yankee dugout with the people who have the authority positions, the coaches, the manager.
I want you to get up right now.
Mel Stottlemyre was a longtime pitching coach for the Mets.
Stick your head out and yell.
Joe Torre used to manage the Mets. He was a player manager for the Mets at one time. It's like he played his last game as a player manager, the last game as a player of his career, on this date. June 17th, back in the early 80s, late 70s, actually. Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire. We might have some big flies. The Giants and Cardinals, 7 Central and 5 Pacific on ESPN. Sunday Night Baseball. Looking forward to it. J.D. Drew, however, will not be there. Jeff Kent, the National League MVP last year. Barry Bonds finished just behind him. And Barry Bonds, who is off to a much faster home run pace than McGwire set 3 years ago. Get back to the bag is Relaford. Batter Ray Ordonez. Mets don't have a whole lot of speed, but Relaford leads their club with 4 steals. There's Brian Boehringer coming up now. The Yankee bullpen, the first bullpen activity they've had tonight.
You mentioned Relaford leads with 4, but he's also been caught 4 times, so not a good percentage.
Leads the club in both categories.
Right.
Ball and no strikes to Ordonez. Look at that. He's starting off another hitter behind that hitter. That's a strike. Now, you're not supposed to be able to do that unless you can throw 98 miles an hour.
True. But I'll say it once more, John. You see how erratic he is. One fastball is up for a strike. The next one may be knee-high and inside for a strike. And it is just very difficult for a hitter, to zone in on his release point because he changes it almost every pitch.
Back to the bag. First is Relaford.
Hitters like pitchers who are around the plate so they can pick the ball up, know where it's going, and then they can attack the ball. And you've even heard pitchers say that some guys throw too many strikes because they're in the same zone all the time, and you can pick the ball up.
And that's how to play. The pitcher, Rick Reed, due up next. Here's the view from atop Shea Stadium, which opened the year of the 1964 World's Fair when it was here. Shea Stadium, home of the Mets. And it is filled up tonight, just as it was last October for the Subway Series. Slider is low for a ball. 3-2. 2-2, I beg your pardon. I just sort of have gotten used to saying 3-2 with Lilly pitching tonight. 2-2. The Yankees lead 3-1. Now Lilly's walked 6 guys. Rick Reed's only walked 1 guy, but Lilly has the lead in this game. Let's see, that makes the count 3-2. Posada out to talk to Lilly. I mean, what's he talking to him about there? Like, hey, let's try this now. Throw strikes.
Well, he hasn't thrown a lot of changeups again when he's in a out situation, when he has 2 strikes on the hitters. And maybe they're going to try something different. He's missed with fastballs. He's missed with sliders in those situations.
3-2 the count. Relaford runs into right field, but right to O'Neill. So Ordonez is gone, 1 away. Now Rick Reed, his favorite movie, a baseball film, Bull Durham. He told us that he could especially relate to the scene on the team bus when Kevin Costner tells his young teammates what it's like to be in the show.
With the guitar or whatever, and they start talking about, you know, what it's like being in the big leagues, and he says he's been there, and 21 terrific days of his life, you know, best days of his life. So I think that's it. I mean, there's no higher than this level here, and while you're here, you should enjoy it, because you know, it takes a long time to get here. I know it took me a long time.
A real long time. Rick Reed, he showed bunt on that first pitch, taking ball 1 from Lilly. Goes all the way back to 1986. There goes the runner. They put on the hit and run, and Reed pops it foul and back out of play.
Good job there by the Yankees. They were ready for it because Jeter was covering, and Soriano didn't give up his position. And you expect Reed to hit the ball to the right side in that situation. So they didn't surprise the Yankees. Watch, Jeter will go over and cover, and Soriano stays in his area, and you see Reed foul it off to the right.
Rick Reed signed in 1986, and as recently as 1996, he spent a full season in the minor leagues. Relaford back to the bag at first. I mean, he'd been everywhere. In the minors, he pitched in 253 games, won 96 minor league games. Pursued the dream. Dogged determination. Here's the bunt at the first base side, but it kicks off foul. Tino Martinez in the field. So 1 ball and 2 strikes. Is it Bradenton, Macon, Georgia, Salem, Harrisburg, Buffalo, Omaha, Oklahoma City, Indianapolis, Norfolk. There, he's pitched. Let's see, Joe. There. Yeah. A monument to the areas where Rick Reed has pitched before getting to the big leagues. 1-2 the count. That is in there, strike 3. So again, those little things. The Mets unable to, pitcher unable to get the bunt now.
Well, a lot of pitchers will tell you the toughest pitch to bunt is a little slider, and that's a fastball, though. A fastball right on the inside corner, more of a cut fastball.
So Lilly gets his 5th strikeout of the game versus 6 walks. The batter will be Benny Agbayani. Well, when he's thrown strikes tonight, which hasn't been all that often, the Mets have not hit him. Agbayani is grounded out to short, grounded out to third. The runner goes. They got him picked off. Tito to Jeter, and that's the end of the inning. So it goes for the Mets. The Yankees trying to go for the sweep, and they lead 3-1, heading to the 5th inning. Crowd of better than 54,000 tonight at Shea Stadium. This is ESPN Sunday Night Baseball, presented by Nextel. The Yankees 3, the Mets 1 as we move to the 5th inning. Mets fans and Yankee fans, sometimes from the same household, sometimes father and son. Based on my experience, the son, especially when he's real young, he would always be rooting for the team that wins all the time. Alfonso Soriano swinging and missing, ended his 0-1. Facing Rick Reed here in the 5th inning. Ted Lilly on deck. And then Chuck Knobloch. Rick Reed is throwing strikes. He's thrown 30 fewer pitches already than has Ted Lilly. Walked only 1. But he's trailing in the game 3-1. There seems like a lot of rules are being broken here, Joe.
Yeah. But I think to handle Lilly, the Mets are going to have to concentrate twice as hard as the Yankees are. You know, Reed's going to be around the plate, so you go up there and you get your swings. And you can be aggressive. But with Lilly, you have to be more patient. And you have to try to find one good pitch out of the 2 or 3 he's going to throw you that may be out of the strike zone.
0-2. That slider is hit through the middle, base hit. Ordonez. I mean, if Ordonez can't get to it, it's not gettable. Now here's Ted Lilly.
John, we've talked about why there are more hitters being hit today than there were, say, 15 or 20 years ago. And the reason is, we'll take a look here at Derek Jeter yesterday. He gets hit. Now watch where he goes. He goes right in. He doesn't go down. Because pitchers had pitched away so much for the last few years, hitters adjusted and went away. And so hitters have taken that away from the pitchers by going towards them a little bit and protecting against the outside part of the plate. Now watch where Jeter's first move is here. But this is not just to show Jeter, it's to show that all the hitters do that. And when you go in, you can't bounce back out. You know, most people will remember Willie Mays and Frank Robinson, a lot of guys going down. You know, their feet go out from under them. That's because they were pretty much squared up to the pitcher, and they could go down. But when the hitters today dive in, there's no way for them to get back out. And that's why you have more guys getting hit when pitchers pitch inside.
Willie Mays just hit the deck like he'd just been shot.
Right. But it's hard for hitters. You can't dive in or start in with your body and then dive back out of the way. I mean, it's impossible. Your momentum is going toward the plate. But because so many pitchers pitched away for so long, hitters were going out and handling that pitch and getting that ball and either pulling it back through the middle or going to the other way. But they were in position to handle that pitch by diving in. But now you see more pitchers trying to take back the inside part of the plate, and therefore you're going to see more hitters hit, because they're locked in and they can't get back out of the way.
Alfonso Soriano at first base, 20 stolen bases for the year. The Yankees lead the American League in steals as a team. Lilly showing bunt at the plate. It's a foul.
I'm going to take a look at, show you Frank Robinson facing Don Drysdale. Don Drysdale was a guy that pitched inside. Now see, Frank Robinson got out of the way because he wasn't diving in. But when you dive in, you're going to get hit because you're locked there. And just think yourself as a fan, the last time you actually saw a guy go down like Frank Robinson went down. Where you don't see that anymore because they're locked in and there's no place for them to go. See, watch. See, Frank goes down. He moves back out of the way. And we saw Jeter, he stepped in, but he couldn't move back out of the way. And that's the way it is with most hitters today.
0-1 the count to Ted Lilly. Struck out his first time they pitch out. Soriano not running. Lilly was showing bunt. Piazza threw out. Posada trying to steal in the 4th inning. The Yankees in the first 2 games of this series stole 6 times against the Mets. 4 times Friday. Robbie Valentine trying to do a Soriano from advancing here one way or the other. Just saw the Mets. Rick Reed was unable to get the bunt down. Another pitch out, and again Soriano not running. So now it's 2-1.
If you're going to pitch out in that situation right there, if you're going to pitch out in that situation, the second baseman has to go around. The second baseman has to come around here because Soriano can go all the way here and stop because Zeal is coming in. So when you know it's going to be a pitch out, the second baseman should sneak behind, the first base there so that you have a play. Otherwise, Soriano's just going to take off, and he sees it's a pitch out. He can stop any place he wants.
2-1 to Lilly. He's showing bunt. Zeal wanted to go to second.
Well, Soriano was running, so they didn't have a play at second.
So the Yankees pitcher gets the bunt down. Now here's an update with Brian Kenny.
So, John, here's J.D. Drew against David Wells in the third inning. You talk about being locked in, nowhere to go, and that's a broken right hand. J.D. Drew out 4 to 6 weeks, having a great season, too, hitting .330, but he's out for a while.
All right, Brian. Very sad to hear about that.
That's especially tough because he had really started to play well, both offensively and defensively. He's having a great season.
Chuck Knobloch, high and tight ball one, and then we saw J.D. Drew, very similar to what you were showing with Derek Jeter.
The ball was up and in, and either he didn't see it as well or he just didn't move. There's Frank Robinson. And Frank was up in the booth with us before the ball game, and we discussed and talked about the different approaches to hitting that the hitters have today as compared to when he played.
The third, Ventura holds Soriano and throws out Knobloch. Back to second base, and Soriano just did make it.
Nice play there by Zeal and Ventura. Ventura looked him back, and then he threw across the diamond, and Soriano kind of took a couple of steps toward third. Zeal came up and fired to second. Now watch what happens if Ventura grabs it. He looks at third, first, second base, forces him back. Zeal doesn't hesitate. And a nice try there.
Relaford applying the tent just a little bit late. Now Jeter to try and get Soriano home. Neither Jeter nor Knobloch has been able to reach base in this game. Knobloch 0 for 3, Jeter 0 for 2. He's grounded to second and to short. He has been struggling to find his stroke all through this month of June. Now Ordonez was on second base. That ball into the alleyway, right center field. It's going to be extra bases. Soriano scores. Jeter streaking to second, turns the corner, heads for third, and he will make it without a throw. A triple. 4-1 Yankees.
Well, the Yankees have not been as consistent with runners in score position as they have been in the past, but they keep hacking. They keep going after it. I mean, Derek Jeter went up there first pitch. He just drills it into the gap. That fastball there is right in the middle of the plate. That was another mistake by Reed. You see Piazza's glove was outside. That ball's right in the middle of the plate. Watch where this pitch is. Right in the middle of the plate, belt high, and Derek Jeter's too good a hitter to miss that.
And the shortstop, Ordonez, was standing on second base.
Well, he was trying to get a pickoff of Soriano, and Reed threw the ball anyway.
It didn't affect the pitch or Jeter's result, but a little bit of a breakdown anyway when your shortstop is out of position waiting for a pickoff throw.
But I'm not going to even say it didn't affect the pitch, John, because he saw him there, and he may have broken his concentration a little bit. He knew he made a mistake by throwing with him standing at second base.
All right, good point. And Bernie Williams, who has homered and doubled. After he threw that pitch and had backed up at third base.
Well, he's upset with himself. I know that because that pitch was right in the middle of the plate, belt high, And guys like Jeter, these good hitters, they're just not going to miss that pitch.
Well, Rick Reed, who has excellent control, but tonight he has been a little bit too fat in the strike zone sometimes than he's had to be. Bernie Williams' homer in the first inning was on an 0-2 pitch. Tino Martinez singled in the fourth on an 0-2 pitch. And Alfonso Soriano in this inning singled with 2 strikes. Pitches where you're supposed to, especially when you have excellent control, you're supposed to be able to get him going for your pitch. Bernie in the month of June, and keep in mind,
Bernie was hitting .205 and he raised his average over 100 points before the series here in New York.
Base hit. That gets Jeter home. Bernie Williams on a 1-ball, 2-strike count with another base hit, another RBI. He is 3 for 3. He's got 3/4 of the cycle.
Well, they were trying to go up and in. He wanted his pitch up. You see it's not up and it's not in. And Bernie Williams rips it to right field. See a pitch, you see the glove. He wanted the pitch to be up. He wanted it to be a high fastball up and in. The pitch he swung through to get to 2 strikes, and he couldn't duplicate the pitch again.
5-1 Yankees. Tino Martinez is grounded out and beaten out an infield single. Bernie Williams is running. Piazza throws. He bounces it in there. The 7th steal of this 3-game series by the Yankees.
That was a tough pitch for Piazza to throw on. Williams had a pretty good jump. The pitch down and in. Anytime our catcher gets the ball down and in with a left-handed hitter at the plate, it's a very difficult throw for him to make. Not a great jump, but you see the pitch down and in. You like the ball up and away from a left-hander if you're the catcher to make that throw.
Bullpen activity for the Mets. Williams at second, 2 down. 2-0 to Tino Martinez. There's Rick White, the right-hander, up in the Mets bullpen in the 5th inning. Well, Rick Reed, he has not had many games like this where he's been roughed up. He came in with an earned run average of 2.62. To second base, Rutherford. And the inning is over. But the Mets follow up a 2-run 4th with a 2-run 5th, the top of the order. With an eye toward a sweep. There's never been a sweep in the interleague series between these 2 ball clubs. They have a shot at it tonight. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. Be sure and pick up your Pepsi 2001 All-Star ballot at participating Kroger locations or your favorite grocery store and vote today. Major League Baseball. Connect with it. Vote for your favorites if they're deserving.
I agree with you, but you know, when they get in the ballot box, you get a free vote.
Okay.
You don't have to tell us who you voted for.
So just vote for your favorite.
Yeah, just vote.
If he's deserving. Here's Benny Agbayani. He'll be getting a lot of votes in the 50th state. Here's ball 1. Aloha mahalo nui loa. Benny Agbayani, the Hawaiian Nightmare. That was a nickname that he liked. That's a broken bat foul. 1 ball, 1 strike. Right now, it looks like to get on base. The Mets need base runners. They're down 5-1. So they've been getting plenty of base runners against Lilly. He's walked 6 of them, but they only have 1 hit. And just 1 run, which he walked in. Bobby Valentine. Valentine.
A little more subdued than the Valentine that we've seen the last couple of years.
After the game yesterday where Timo Perez popped up a bunt, sacrifice bunt trying to get the tying run over in the 8th inning. They asked Valentine about it, and he says, well, you know, he couldn't lay off that high pitch out of the zone. It's a bit of a growing pain, I guess. a pain.
But what he said is also he said they had a veteran pitcher against an inexperienced bunter, meaning Mike Vicina knew to throw the ball up. Anytime a hitter's trying to bunt, that's the way you throw it. You throw the fastball up.
2-1 to Agbayani. Agbayani keeps a helmeted Hawaiian warrior dog at his locker. 2-2 the count, and he says it's because every time he goes out on the field he wants to play like a warrior. Somebody asked him, says, is that dog, is it good luck? He says, well, just don't touch it and you won't have to worry about it. An author, Big League Survivor, his book, he's got Benny Bean coffee that's been introduced, Hawaiian coffee, but he swings at the slider in the dirt and is tagged out by Posada. Ted Lilly with his 6th strikeout. 0 for 3 for Agbayani.
Of all the pitches that he has showed us tonight, John, that slider seems to be the best because it breaks so late. See, it stays up. Now all of a sudden right there it starts to bite, and the hitters aren't able to lay off on it. It's a late breaking slider, and no one has been able to lay off of it with 2 strikes.
One down. And running up as if to bunt, Shinjo. When he was being asked to talk about what he was expecting for this Yankees-Mets Subway Interleague Series, he said he was interested to find out what it was going to be like. He thought it might be a little bit like Japan, where the Hiroshima Carp and the Yomiuri Tokyo Giants meet. Great rivals. Soriano, and that's all for Shinjo. So neither of the first 2 hitters in the Mets lineup has been able to reach base.
Number 31, Mike Piazza.
Now Mike Piazza. Ted Lilly, who has been strong in the early innings of his starts, and then from the 5th inning on, he has really struggled. Although in his last start against Montreal, he went 7 shutout innings last Tuesday up at Yankee Stadium. Piazza pops it up. Foul. And will go out of play off to the right. 0-1 the count. Mike Piazza tonight has walked twice in this game. He has scored the Mets' only run. Gives the Mets back to Jorge Posada. I guess, Joe, around town here in New York, there was a lot of talk from various quarters that, you know, after they played the World Series last year, there wasn't quite the buzz for this interleague series that there had been in the past, but Mike Piazza wasn't buying that.
No, I don't think there's, I mean, everyone's still excited. I mean, it's the Yankees and the Mets. I mean, it's always going to be special. The Giants and the Dodgers. It doesn't really matter who's playing well at the time. It's still a great rivalry.
To Piazza. Piazza says he loves the whole panorama of these 2 teams playing each other. The way the crowd sounds here at Shea when the Mets do well when they're playing the Yankees, and vice versa at Yankee Stadium. Piazza's going to run.
A slider again.
Posada throws him out. John Miller and Joe Morgan, your Sunday night telecasters from Shea Stadium, New York. 3 weeks from tonight, these 2 teams will be playing again in New York up at Yankee Stadium, which the way things are going this weekend for the Mets is not the kind of news they really want to hear. Here is Jorge Posada against Rick Reed. He curves him for a strike. Posada has struck out and singled home a run. 5-1, the Yanks lead in the 6th inning. Posada, and then O'Neill and Brocious. The numbers 5, 6, and 7 hitters. Just off the outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Well, it's really, I'm sure, an area of consternation for Rick Reed and for his Mets teammates. The number of hits he's given up tonight when he's been ahead of a hitter.
True. I think he has not been able to put the hitters away. He's been able to get ahead of the hitters, but he hasn't been able to put them away. I mean, he's had 2 strikes on Bernie Williams a couple of times. Had a couple of strikes on Posada. I mean, if you look back, a lot of guys have had 2-strike hits. You know, Tino Martinez comes to mind. I mean, he has just not been able to put the hitters away.
And 5 of the 7 Yankees hits have been on either 0-2 or 1-2 counts. Just off the outside with a fastball, as we see from the dead center camera.
And that's not something that, you know, Rick Reed normally allows. I mean, he will make you go out of the strike zone just a little bit off the plate.
And now he's 3-2. The Mets, 29 wins, but 39 losses. After going to the World Series last year, only 3 teams in Major League history had a worse record through 68 games the year after they were in a World Series. Now that is strike 3 on the inside corner.
Well, he had him set up. He kept going away with breaking balls and off-speed pitches. And Posada remembers he had hit a pitch inside for a base hit last time up, so he doesn't expect this. He expects something away, and that's a beautiful fastball right on the inside corner. He shouldn't even have to move the glove there, right there. Perfect.
From Mascan, being moored by Mike Piazza. 1 down, 5th strikeout for Reed, and here is Paul O'Neill. He has grounded out to first and hit a sacrifice fly. Sharply hit to Zeal. Juggles it, but gets the put out. O'Neill gone on 1 pitch, 2 down.
Third baseman, number 18, Scott Brocious.
Talking about the dead center camera. We're able to concoct a nice location for it here with a crane out there in center field. It's Joe Morgan.
I brought the crane.
Brought the crane in.
Yeah.
Is that like a Father's Day gift for us? Here's a swing and a miss on a curveball by Scott Brocious. Brocious has walked and struck out. 0 for 1. 5-1. The Yankees lead the Mets. We're in the 6th inning. And he fouls that one. 0-2 the count. The Yanks got 1 in the first on a Bernie Williams homer. The Mets tied in the first when Ted Lilly walked in a run in the last of the first, but it's been all Yanks ever since. 2 in the 4th, 2 in the 5th. And you know, things really turned around big time in that 4th inning. Not only did the Yankees score twice, but the Mets got a leadoff walk and then disintegrated. Another inside corner fastball, strike 3. More on that a little bit later. We go to the last of the 6. Zeal, Ventura, and McNeil.
Angle with ESPN's exclusive Dead Center View. Giants Cardinals Sunday Night Baseball presented by Nextel. 8 o'clock next Sunday on ESPN.
I'm Jason Williams, and this is ESPN, the magazine's brand new mascot, Maggie the Magazine. I guess she's supposed to represent how great the magazine is, but mostly she just gives people the creeps.
The Yankees trying to make it a clean sweep this weekend over the Mets, and they are leading 5-1 as we move to the Mets after the 6th inning. U.S. Open Golf, a playoff, 18-hole coverage tomorrow beginning at noon on ESPN. That's Eastern Time, 9 Pacific. And also then on NBC at 2 o'clock Eastern. Retief Goosen of South Africa and Mark Brooks, both 4 under. Brooks is a former PGA champion. For more, log on to ESPN.com to get all the inside info on that one. And so it ain't over yet, the U.S. Open. Now, I feel like Tiger Woods should play it in that playoff.
I think he deserves to be there, right?
Well, I think when you win, what has he won 4 consecutive majors, right?
Right.
So he should get, you know, sometimes they don't have to qualify for certain tournaments.
All right.
He should not have to qualify for this playoff. I mean, think about it.
I think they did, and they decided he didn't deserve to be in this one.
1-2 to Todd Zeal facing Ted Lilly. Zeal has singled. He has the only Mets hit. It was a clean single to left field in the 1st inning. He also has struck out. Really misses with a curveball. It didn't curve. It looks like he tried to throw that pitch 2 or 3 times, but
well, his curveball is just an average curveball, but I mean his slider seems to be, I mean, devastating. It's hard for the right-hander to pick up the spin, and it breaks late. There it is again. That's the slider.
3-0 2. Roger Clemens could have pitched tonight. They had a day off last Monday, so that Clemens could have vaulted past Lilly and pitched Tuesday against Montreal, and that would have put him in there tonight. But Joe Torre decided against that. And that's ball 4 to Todd Zeile. We talked to Joe Torre about that and whose decision it was. Was it his or Roger Clemens? He told us before the game.
You know, I can understand if Roger was reluctant to pitch, you know, but he was never given the opportunity to give me a decision, you know, because I arranged the pitching along with Mel Stottlemyre, and we decided I just didn't want him pitching here because Roger gets, you know, he gets caught up in the hype, and he knows what's transpired here, you know, hitting Mike in the head and, of course, the bad incident in the World Series. And to me, I think that would have taken precedent over his pitching his game.
But some people feel like it was the other way around, that Clemens begged out of the game.
Well, basically what Joe said before was you have to remember the game comes first, and he didn't want those things to take away from the game itself. But it's, you know, the problem is it's not going to go away.
Here is Robin Ventura. That's a ball. Well, Bobby Valentine Friday did an interview with Michael Kay, one of the radio voices of the Yankees here in New York. Brian Boehringer, a right-hander, up again in the Yankees bullpen. 6th inning, 5-1, the Yankees lead. Ventura has walked twice in this game. Zeile, who just walked, is at first base. Ventura into left field. And Knobloch, one away. Bobby Valentine was asked by Michael Kay if the Mets would throw at Clemens if he were to come to bat in this series on Friday. And Bobby Valentine, here's what he said. He said he might have gotten hit by a pitch. If that's an incident, then there might have been an incident. And Kay's question actually said, could there have been an incident if Clemens had come to bat in this weekend series? Valentine also went on to say that he wouldn't have ordered his pitcher to throw at Clemens, but
I don't think he would have had to.
There's a ball in the dirt, and over to second base goes Todd Zeile. Osada couldn't handle that one. I believe that'll be a wild pitch, which would be the 3rd of the game thrown by Lilly.
If they decided that they were going to throw it at Roger Clemens, I don't think Bobby Valentine would have had to have ordered it.
Well, he said he wouldn't have ordered it, but if they decided to do it, he would have condoned it.
Right. I don't think he would have ordered it.
Well, David Wells, a former Yankee, also checked in with some comments.
I think he should go out there and face the music. I mean, Roger Grant, he's one of the greatest pitchers that ever pitched the game. But, you know, he does throw up and in. But I think Joe's protecting him, which Joe should. But then again, if it was me, and, I mean, I don't care. I mean, I'm going to go out there and do it because, hey, you know what? I'm going to get a lot more respect by going out there and pitching against him and face what comes along.
Thursday on ESPN Radio 1000 in Chicago. David Wells. David, he got an opinion on everything. But I think that is a good point, right? He would have done it because he felt like he would have gained respect from the other players if he had gone in there. But Joe Torre is saying that was not an option for Roger.
Right. He didn't give.
He decided.
Yeah. He didn't ask Roger did he want to pitch. He just said you're not pitching.
3-0 to Joe McEwing. Lilly has already walked 7 hitters and thrown 3 wild pitches in this game. And he's walked 8 in 5 1/3 innings.
Second baseman.
And here comes Joe Torre. That's going to do it for Lilly. Takes a lot of pitches to throw that many walks in 5 1/3 innings. He's thrown 114 pitches. So Boehringer is going to come in from the bullpen. The Yankees lead 5-1, and the Mets are trying to play catch-up. We'll be back. It's been a frightening proposition lately with Joe Torre. Brian Boehringer, who has gotten lit up in each of his last 2 outings. Thursday against Montreal, he gave up a 3-run homer and a single to the only 2 batters that he faced. He inherited a couple of runners. His appearance before that against Atlanta 9 days ago, he gave up 4 earned runs in 1 2/3 innings. Those are his only 2 appearances since he's suffered a slight strain of his right groin in late May in a game at Cleveland. And Joe Torre had been trying to avoid using anybody except Mike Stanton and Mariano Rivera when leading in tight games. And that's a ball back out of play. But both Stanton and Rivera have worked a lot lately.
And he really wants to give Mike Stanton the day off. I mean, he definitely didn't want to use Stanton. He said he could use Rivera, but he doesn't want to use Stanton. Rivera only threw 7 pitches yesterday.
There's Stanton.
Yeah, he is. Stanton is on a pace, you know, surpass all of his career statistics.
I mean, he's only 7 innings away from equaling how many innings he threw all of last year. And losing Jeff Nelson has been quite a difference. There's a foul back and out of play. He's thrown 7 more innings so far this year than he had thrown this year
Last year after 6 games. Yeah.
I don't know.
But the point you were making is that, you know, Jeff Nelson used to be a guy that he trusted in the bullpen as well as Stanton and Rivera. Remember last year during the playoffs in the World Series, it was Rivera, Stanton, and Jeff Nelson. Those were the ones that he used.
And they have not found anybody to really replace Nelson in his role. 0-2 to Rutherford. It's a ball. 1 ball and 2 strikes. But again, he's bringing in Boringer here, who has been real shaky in the 2 games he's pitched since coming back from that strained groin muscle.
Well, they have also made sure that Ramiro Mendoza is back in the bullpen. He likes him there. Mendoza has started a couple of games, but he wants to keep him in the bullpen now.
Mendoza, actually, he went back to the bullpen last Tuesday in an extra inning game rather than Joe Torre in a tight game with Montreal use anybody else. And then Mendoza came on in relief of Pettit here Friday when Pettit left with a groin injury. And Mendoza went 3 2/3 innings in that game. And he started last Saturday and went 5 innings. And a busy man. 2 on, 1 out. Check swing. The appeal. No, says Mark Wegner, the third base umpire. And it's a full count to Rutherford. So the Mets are limping. They're not beating anybody. They're not scoring many runs. There's Ordonez on deck. The Yankees are in the part of their bullpen where lately they've been getting hurt. 3-2 the count. 2 men on, 1 man out. Knocked up. Foul ground. Scott Brocious. Out number 2. Now Ray Ordonez comes up.
Number 10, Ray Ordonez.
So the Mets now with Ordonez. And of course, remember, they're missing one of their big bats in Edgardo Alfonso. That's why Rutherford is in there. And now you've got Ordonez, who has never really been a big bat. He is 0 for 2 tonight. He came into the game hitting .219 for the year. Is Alfonso. He looks down, doesn't he?
Where you're looking at, you know, a situation, you're in the 6th inning. You know that Ordonez is going to come to bat again, and you're going to have to pinch hit for him in the later innings. You're going to have to pinch hit for the pitcher if he gets on. So you're going to use a couple of pinch hitters here in the 6th inning, and you do not want to run out of pinch hitters in case you mount any kind of rally, say, in the 8th inning or later innings.
And if Ordonez gets on base here, then they will have to pinch hit for Rick Reed, the pitcher, due up next. The Mets have received 8 walks tonight. And they've had 1 hit. They've received 3 wild pitches, but just 1 run. They've had lots of base runners. That's a strike over the outside, but getting that hit with, well, those people out there in the bases, that's been another story.
Ordonez has gone through spells where he's actually swung the bat well when he goes the other way. He actually got off to a pretty good start earlier this year. You know, he had a few games where he hit the ball the other way and drove in some runs or got a key base hit.
Randy Choate, a left-hander, up in the Yankees bullpen.
And Joe Torre was saying he would hope to use Randy tonight instead of Stanton, and especially maybe to get a hitter or two out in the late innings.
2-1 out of Ordonez. Brian Ballringer trying to find himself. Ballringer was pitching real well until he got hurt. It's about a little over 3 weeks ago in the game in Cleveland. 2-2 now to Ordonez.
And Ordonez, he continues to chase that high fastball, and he hasn't been able to handle it.
He struck out on what could have been a leadoff walk in the second inning. The fact that he not swung at the pitch unquestionably would have been a walk because the pitch was up in his eyes. 2-2 the count. 2 on, 2 out. 6th inning. And it's a full count. Zeal, who led off the inning with a walk at second base, and McEwing, who also walked at first base. Get ready to take off. 2 down. There they go. Base hit to left field. Zeal will come in to score, and it is 5-2 Yankees. Ray Ordonez delivers.
And truthfully, he had some hits like that early in the year, and then he went into a real tailspin. But you have to give him credit for battling. And Bobby showed some confidence in him. But I think you're going to see there's a low fastball about belt high in the middle of the plate. And he drills it to left field for a base hit. And Zeal comes in to score.
Darrell Hamilton now has been introduced as a pinch hitter for Rick Reed. And Joe Torre is going to go to his bullpen for the left-hander. Randy Choate, long way to go in this one. 5-2 Yanks. In track. Bernie Williams with a home run of the first on an 0-2 pitch. That was the first run of the game. Then with the score 1-1, Jorge Posada got a base hit to right in the 4th inning, knocking Williams home, who had doubled. Then in the 5th inning, Derek Jeter hit an RBI triple, highlighting another 2-run rally. That made it 5-1. The 2 in the 4th and 2 in the 5th. But now the Mets trying to rally here in the 6th inning. 1 run is in. 2 men are on. And here is Randy Choate, a sidewinding left-hander, very unorthodox, and he's going to face Todd Pratt, a pinch hitter for a pinch hitter. Meanwhile, the Yankees are going to appeal at third base that Todd Zeal missed the bag.
Well, when he came around the bag, his left foot appeared to hit the inside corner of the bag. And I can understand why they would question that.
Two on, 2 out. Todd Pratt, who's got some power. He is the possible tying run. That's a foul back beneath us. 0-1 to Pratt. Now, Choate has been buried deep in the Yankee bullpen. He's only pitched 17 innings all year. But when he has pitched, he's been tough. He has only allowed 7 hits in 17 innings. He has also hit 6 batters and walked 7 others in those 17 innings. 1-1. side. We saw a guy like this, Joe, on the Memorial Day weekend when we were in Detroit with the White Sox. Had a left-hander, Kelly Wunsch. And in the National League, the Colorado Rockies have a lefty that throws a lot like this. Mike Myers. Now this is quite a different look for a hitter. A left-hander who throws from the side like this guy.
That ball hit it. Yeah, but the question is, did he swing at it? I think he swung at it. And Joe Torre's coming out to say he swung at it.
But the plate umpire has already said it.
Yeah, he
did.
He did swing at it.
So Torre started out and realized he didn't need to, but now Bobby Valentine's going to come out and get an explanation.
Well, if you swing at it and the ball hits you, the ball's dead, but it's a strike.
The runners have to go back.
And he definitely swung at it. And the ball becomes dead when you swing at it, so the runners have to go back.
So Choate, who's hit 6 batters already this year, hits another one here, and it doesn't get charged to his record. One and 2 to Pratt. Still 1 and 2.
That was a good job there by Pratt to foul that pitch off, because normally if you call that same pitch that it just hit him and he swung at a slider in, but they went with a riding fastball and he was still able to foul it off.
Now, Bobby Valentine's so short right now on his bench that Pratt, who is the number 2 catcher on a club that's carrying 2 catchers, is being used here in the 6th inning. A tough backdoor slider, but Pratt was able to foul it off. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And Valentine, his only other right-handed hitter is Jorge Velandia.
And there's that little sidearm slider that stays toward the outside corner.
Todd Pratt trying to make something happen for the Mets in the 6th inning. They're trailing 5-2. Right down the line, but foul. He gets pretty good hacks against this guy.
Well, he's staying in there. Again, you look for a slider in after the guy hit you with one and you swung at it, but they haven't gone back inside with a slider.
Ted Lilly looking on. He had a long night and only got to 1 out in the 6th inning after 114 pitches. He walked 8. He is responsible for the run that is scored in this inning. And McEwing, the runner at second, is his as well. And again, Pratt jammed with that slider. He's able to foul it off.
Well, you can see Posada kind of hit the ground with his glove, meaning he wanted that pitch down. He didn't get it down. And Pratt was able to fight it off.
The National League's New York Mets, the American League's New York Yankees. The final game of the first interleague interlude in this year's schedule. 1-2 the count. And again, he fights it off. Valentine using his top right-handed pinch hitter early in the game, but they got to get back into this game. There's Carlos Almanzar, a right-hander, now warming up in the Yankees bullpen. You've got several right-handed hitters who would follow Pratt. Agbayani, Shinjo, Piazza, Zeal.
I don't think he can get ready for Agbayani.
McEwing and Ordonez the runners. Shinjo in the hole. Agbayani on deck. Piazza behind them. Pratt trying to just keep this inning going. He's fouled off 4 after the count went to 1-2. He swings and misses. And Choate gets him. with the breaking ball. 1 run for the Mets. 5-2 Yankees as we head to the. John Miller and Joe Morgan here with you. Your Sunday night telecasters. Father's Day. 2001 Shea Stadium, New York, Interleague Baseball. 54,399, the paid crowd. Better than 162,000 for the weekend here. Actually, a little over 163,000. Now Rick White takes the mound for the Mets in relief of Rick Reed. And Alfonso Soriano leads off for the Yankees, taking a slider for ball 1. 5-2 now. One thing about the Mets, I mean, they get behind like this. Not only have they not been scoring many runs, they've had 25 games this year where they've scored 2 runs or less. And that's 37% of their total of games where they've scored 2 runs or less than that.
Well, their offense has really been a big problem for them all year. I mean, and that puts more pressure on your pitching staff.
From Mascan. Foul out of play. Soriano, who is 1 for 2. 1-2 the count to him here in the 7th inning.
Well, and the Mets really did not add much to their ball club from last year. They lost Mike Hampton, and they lost Bobby Jones. They added Kevin Apier, I guess, as a pitcher, but they really didn't add much offense to this ball club.
Relaford. And Soriano is retired, 1 away. Monster.com blimp covering tonight's game.
The pitcher, number 38, Randy Cho.
55 feet tall. And when it's empty, just sitting in a warehouse somewhere, it weighs 5,000 pounds. Monster.com reminds you to think big when it comes to your career and your life.
John, you're talking about the Mets offense. You know, there was talk in the spring that they were going to acquire Gary Sheffield. I think that would have been an excellent addition to this ball club. You know, it would have added some offense to this ball club. Some much needed power in the outfield.
The Mets, apparently, Steve Phillips, the general manager, at least all the reports are, he's still trying very hard to add some offense. But there were a lot of people when the Dodgers announced in spring training that they were going to try and trade Sheffield. A lot of GMs were saying that with what they were asking in return for him, that they didn't feel that the Dodgers were real serious about trading Sheffield. 1-2 the count to Cho. Meanwhile, you're talking about Sheffield, Joe. I mean, the Mets outfielders that they've gone with have been extremely unproductive. Last in the National League in home runs and RBIs. And usually an outfield is where you get a lot of runs.
Well, that's where you're supposed to have your production from your left fielder and your right fielder. Center field is normally a defensive position. Although you see the Yankees get a lot of offense from their center field position.
Oh, and Randy Choate is down on strikes out number 2. I think a center field. There's the Mets center fielder. Jay Payton has been injured. Hurt his hamstring. He might be back in a week to 10 days.
Well, he's a good defensive center fielder. He's a guy that can run. He can add some speed to the ball club. But he's still not that power outfielder that we're talking about. He's not going to hit you 30-plus home runs.
Although he was the top hitter among the outfielders that they've been going with.
Right.
2 down, Chuck Knobloch. And the 0-1 Knobloch has popped out and twice grounded out. He's 0 for 3. But I don't know, Joe. I think center field. I think of defense like Willie Mays.
Correct.
Mickey Mantle.
Correct.
Duke Snyder.
Kirk Flood. Those guys could play center field.
But, one thing, as I recall, maybe I'm wrong, they also hit pretty well.
Yeah, they did.
Base hit for Knobloch. Knobloch been stealing a lot of bases. Lately, he's not had many chances. He has not been getting on very often. But he leads the American League in that category as the Yankees as a team lead the league in stealing. Derek Jeter comes up. So what do you think? Is Knobloch going with 2 down?
Well, if he can get a good jump, I think he'll probably attempt to, steal a base in this situation. But remember, Jeter is pretty much a free swinger. I mean, he hits a lot of first pitches. He does not take a lot of pitches.
Here's Knobloch, 23 steals, only been caught 3 times. The Yankees have been running a lot in this series. They've stolen 7 bases in 3 games, 1 tonight. Piazza also threw out Posada trying to steal. The Yankees lead 5-2 in the 7th inning. The Mets bullpen gets busy. And Bernie Williams up next. Rick White in relief of Rick Reed, who went 6 innings, gave up 5 runs. Fastball a strike.
So White's getting rid of the ball very quickly, so if Knobloch goes, at least they'll give Piazza a chance to throw him out.
Dennis Cook, the left-hander, in the bullpen. Knobloch doing a lot more running this year than he did last. Jeter fouls out, and it is 0-2.
And you can see that White gets rid of the ball so quickly that Knobloch has not been able to get a good jump. But this might be a situation with 2 outs, 2 strikes on Jeter that you take off, and if you make it, you're okay. If not, you have Jeter, Bernie Williams, and Tino Martinez hitting in the top of the 8th inning.
Pitch out.
And the Mets were thinking that way as well.
Yankees 78 steals. Tonight they're playing their 67th game. Charlie Huff, the pitching coach, talking with Bobby Valentine after they called for a pitch out on that last pitch.
And it's another time you could pitch out again. If you think he's going, just pitch out. You still have 2 strikes on Jeter.
He's not going. Dug out of the dirt by Piazza. 2 balls, 2 strikes. The last time the Yankees led the league in stolen bases, I don't think you remember this, Joe. I mean, remember they used to have Mickey Rivers in the 70s?
Yeah.
He stole a lot of bases.
Yeah. Ricky Henderson
in the 80s, he stole a lot. So the answer is 1938. That's the last time they led the league in steals. The stolen base, that has not often been their game. There goes Knobloch, but Jeter fouls it off. Into the crowd, off to the right. Jeter, and Knobloch will go back.
Well, with 2 strikes, of course, Jeter's up there protecting the plate. He's not worried about Knobloch running or taking off on the pitch.
The Yankees led the majors in 1938 steals. They did lead the American League. See, you were right when you said Ricky Henderson. In 1985, they did lead the American League. That's what I had asked. 85. You should be the one asking the question. But the last time they led the majors was 1938. And that was a great run for the Yankees back in that era. In the dirt. Change up from Reed, 3-2, or from White. He was in relief of Reed. 1938, the Yankees won their 3rd consecutive World Series in a run where they won 4 in a row. They were the first team to have 4 consecutive World Series championships, 1936 through 39. One of the great teams of all time. And then 49 through 53, they won 5 straight World Series, which is still the record. The current Yankees have won 4 World Series in the last 5 years. There goes Knobloch. The shortstop, Ordonez, who had started over towards second. Bounces the throw in, and everybody's safe. Zeal could not bring it, dig it out. And Bernie Williams will come to bat with 2 men on. He's the hottest hitter this side of Barry Bonds.
Well, Ordonez looked like he was going to go to second base, try to get Knobloch. Then he straightens up and he just throws it right into the ground. Although that ball could have been picked up by Zeal. Zeal not a natural first baseman. say, like Tino Martinez, who saves a lot of errors by the Yankee infielders. That was a pretty tough hop. The ball hit out in front, and it was that was almost an in-between hop, so it wasn't an easy play for Zeal.
So Bernie Williams comes up. Bernie tonight has homered, doubled, and singled. 3/4 of the cycle. If he hits a triple, he'll have the cycle. Change up low. 1 ball and no strikes. John Olerud hit for the cycle yesterday, a former Met. And he did it impressively, Joe, in San Diego. He came up late in the game needing a home run to hit for the cycle, and he hit a 454-foot home run.
I think I saw a note that Willie Mays never did it. Hank Aaron never did it in their careers.
I mean, it's a great day if you hit for the cycle, but it is also sort of an oddity.
Yeah. First of all, you have to get 4 hits, so that's a great day.
So it's a great day if you get the 4 hit, but Willie Mays once hit 4 home runs.
Yeah, he could have chopped those up, I guess, so you can call that a cycle.
So he didn't hit for the cycle, but
he actually had a little better than the cycle.
I'd say that there are things better than a cycle, yeah. 2-0 to Bernie Williams. Knobloch at second, Jeter at first. Both are fast runners. Bernie, 29 hits and 59 at-bats this month. Strike on the outside. 2-1. First error of the game. Ordonez, who made an error in the game in St. Petersburg, Florida, against Tampa Bay last weekend. And he's made 8 errors this year. The count to Bernie Williams. Well, Reed challenged him. By him.
Well, the only pitch that we've seen him not put in play is a fastball up and in. And that seems to be the only pitch he's not hitting right now. Up and in a little bit. Everything else he's killing.
And it's White who powered that one by. Reed is out of the game. Rick Reed with the first 6. Rick White pitching now. 2 on, 2 out. 2-2 the count. Center field. Shinjo has room in the big part of the ballpark. Top of the order, Agbayani, Shinjo, and Piazza. The Mets trying to fashion a comeback. Remember, 2 years ago, as we remind you now, SportsCenter comes up next. Dan Patrick and Rich Eisen. 18th hole drama at the Open. Bonds has company. He's not the only one hitting home runs. Phil Jackson in the Sunday conversation. That's on SportsCenter, still to come. Randy Choate still out there, the lefty, with 3 right-handed hitters due up here. Agbayani, Shinjo, and Piazza. That's a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike. But 2 years ago, Joe, we came in for interleague play around this time of year. And the Yankees had won the first 2 from the Mets. And the Mets fired half of Bobby Valentine's coaching staff.
Correct.
Before our game. It's a foul out of play. And they were going to face Roger Clemens, who was real hot at that time. But Al Leiter pitched a beauty. They beat Clemens, and they got hot after that. They kind of turned their season around right here on Sunday Night Baseball. I mean, talk about dragging. They're 10 games under 500. They've lost the first 2 games of this series. Now they're behind 5-2. Strike 3 call to the inside corner. And Agbayani is 0 for 4. The Mets are struggling. And they created a very entertaining promo about the Mets and Mike Piazza, everybody in New York giving Piazza advice.
Hey, Mr. Piazza, hit a home run tonight.
Block the plate with your whole body.
Set up early, Papa. The runners are killing you.
If I may say, your batting is you're choking up a little too much. Here, let me show you 1 second.
If I may, you need to be balanced.
You just gotta win because it's killing my husband.
You listening to me, Mike? Are you? Okay.
You ever thought maybe if you got a lighter bat, you could get it around faster?
How far is it to right field?
About 330.
How far is it to center field?
About 410.
Well, then hit it to right field.
You know, if they set a camera around with him when he's going around town, that probably would be what would happen.
Well, New York's a big baseball town. I mean, as I go around, people are talking about the Mets or the Yankees. I mean, they love baseball here in New York.
Shinjo, the hitter, against Cho. 2 balls and a strike. Shinjo is 0 for 3. They've not been able to get a man on base for Piazza all night. Agbayani 0 for 4. Shinjo 0 for 3. 5-2. The Yankees lead the Mets in the last of the 7th. Piazza is on deck. Yoshi Shinjo. And it is 3-1. I thought that was one of the most clever baseball commercials I've ever seen put together.
There have been a lot of them lately. I remember the A's had a great one. It ended up these guys can play and
kids,
yeah.
That's ball 4. So Shinjo gets on base. Finally, Piazza bats with somebody on base. He has walked twice, struck out once. He walked in the first with 2 out of nobody on. He walked in the third with 1 out of nobody on. In the 5th inning with 2 out of nobody on, he struck out. Now, what is it to right field? 330. What is it to center field? 410.
Well, when he swings the bat well, he can go in any direction.
Piazza got 18 home runs this year. Middle infield double play depth for the Mets, for the Yankees. Back to a slider. 1-1. It really has some movement on it, doesn't it?
Well, Piazza thought that pitch was away, and he was just trying to see his motion. I think he was taking a pitch so he could find his release point.
The Mets have received 9 walks tonight. They've had only 2 hits. Piazza has received 2 of those walks. Zeal on deck. And that's out of play. 0-2 the count to Piazza. The only Yankee who had ever faced Choate before was Robin Ventura. There's Carlos Almanzar up in the Yankee bullpen again.
And Joe thinks that Almanzar is going to be a key player for the Yankees. I think as he just gets some experience and settles down, he's going to be a good addition to their bullpen.
They've formerly been with the San Diego Padres. Piazza got jammed in that one. Fought it off. Stays alive. 0-2 the count. Yankees without Andy Pettit, without Orlando Hernandez, El Duque. Tonight we saw Ted Lilly, who's been in the rotation. They've also brought up Adrian Hernandez, another Cuban emigre.
What is it, Ducito?
Duquecito.
Duquecito.
Sort of, little Duque. Yeah. And he's going to pitch in Detroit Wednesday. Randy Kiesler. That one is at a mile, but foul. Wow. Well, it didn't mean a whole lot, but I was impressed to see it. That was up into what, the 3rd or 4th level, depending on how many you think there are in this ballpark.
Well, the slider was breaking down and in, and he had to go out and get it, but he couldn't keep it fair.
It is 0-2 to Piazza. 1 out, 1 on. That's a base hit. So now Todd Zeile comes up, the cleanup hitter, and he is the possible tying run. Zeile tonight has singled, struck out, and walked and scored a run.
Well, this is a fastball that's in, and he just gets on top of it, but he finds a hole on the left side.
So Piazza gets a hit, his first of the night. And got the right-handed batting Zeal, but the left-handed batting Ventura. And remember, as Joe Torre told you, Joe, he really does not want to use Mike Stanton tonight.
Well, he doesn't, but he also says I may get in a situation where I just have to do it, but he's going to try to avoid it.
So he wants Choate to stay in there at least through Ventura, who's on deck. So Zeal gets a shot at it here against the lefty. Zeal, who has not yet started hitting home runs. One of the perplexing aspects of the season up till now for the Mets. Strike on the inside at the knees, and it is 0-1. Zeal, 22 homers last year, 24 the year before that. 1998, 19 homers, 31 in 97. 25 even the year before that. And a foul. So quickly, Choate. But one thing is for sure, the guy has been throwing strikes ever since he walked Shinjo. 0-2 the count. Shinjo back to second. Piazza will go back to first. Todd Zeal. First in there was the home run that wasn't. Game 1 of the World Series last year. It seemed like everybody in the ballpark thought it was going, with Timo Perez at first base, but it hit the top of the wall at Yankee Stadium, and Perez was into his home run trot until belatedly finding out it was still in play, and they threw him out at the plate in a great play by Derek Jeter. And they backdoored him with that breaking ball, but Zeal stayed with it.
Well, one thing Zeal does when he gets 2 strikes is he will take a shot to right field. He waits a little longer and he kind of fights the ball off that way.
And the Mets fans in the crowd try to rally their team. Every pitch Choate has thrown since he walked Shinjo, and he's thrown 9 pitches. Every one of them has been a strike. 2 on, 1 out. Could be a double play. Grosh's to second, 1. Soriano to first. 2. Double play, and the side is retired. Reminder now, U.S. Open golf continues. An 18-hole playoff coverage of all 18 tomorrow on ESPN at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific. Beginning on NBC at 2 Eastern. Retief Goosen and Mark Brooks, each 4 under. That's tomorrow. It goes on. And this one goes on into the 8th inning, and there is veteran lefty Dennis Cook, the 3rd Mets pitcher of the night. So Cook will face Tino Martinez, Jorge Posada, and Paul O'Neill on Father's Day 2001, June 17th. 24 years ago today, Joe Torre, who when he was first hired as manager by the Mets remained an active player, but then removed himself from the active roster on June 18th of that year. Tino 1 for 3, takes a called strike. He played his last game as an active player 24 years ago today. And on that same day, in his role as manager of that ball club, he put Bobby Valentine in the lineup. Valentine, 24 years ago today, played his first game as a Met. 1-1 to Tino, and that's in the dirt for a ball.
But Bobby actually started with the Dodgers.
And he had actually been with different ball clubs. He had a horrible collision with a wall, and really, it looked like he was going to be a huge star in this game. Valentine had been acquired by the Mets from the San Diego Padres 2 days earlier, June 15, 1977. In that trade, the Mets sent Dave Kingman to the Padres. Here is Relaford playing in place of the injured Edgardo Alfonso. So Martinez is retired. Here's the GMC pitching summary. Ted Lilly issued the most walks by a Yankee since 1996, actually tied for the most walks issued by a Yankee. And that's the time period that Joe Torre had been the manager. Dwight Gooden and David Cohn had games where they walked that many. Rick Reed only walked one guy, but he gave up a lot of two-strike hits. Pitches that were a little fatter than he would have liked, with 2 strikes on hitters. Here is Jorge Posada. Got a 2-strike RBI single in the 4th inning. Now he's batting right-handed. Posada, a switch hitter, hitting only .231 batting right-handed, hitting .312 batting left-handed. 1 ball and no strikes. And the changeup is low. 2-0. Well, the Mets had their shot, Joe. I mean, in the 7th inning, they may get some more, but cleanup hitter up there, a couple of men on.
Well, they've actually had a lot of shots, as you mentioned. Lilly walked 8 batters. I mean, just to think that if you would have mixed 1 or 2 base hits in with those 8 walks, you'd have, you know, some runs on the board.
By the way, we mentioned 54,399 paid crowd here tonight. 162,704 for the 3 games. And that is a 3-game series Shea Stadium record. Breaking the record that was set last year when the Yankees were here. And ball forward to Posada. The batter will be Paul O'Neill.
The right fielder, number 21, Paul O'Neill.
5-2, the Yankees lead. And the Mets bullpen is busy. Here's Cook. Faces O'Neill. Turk Wendell, the right-hander, is the man warming up out there. You know, I didn't realize that until we got that note. That Joe Torre, when he got his first managing job, was still a player. A la Frank Robinson. I mean, he wasn't a player for very long. After he became a manager, about 2.5 weeks. On the count to O'Neill. Sports Center right after the game. Stay tuned. Joe Torre, who had come to the Mets as a player in 1975, the 77 season. May the 31st of that year, named manager. Shinjo over toward left center. And that is the out. O'Neill now 0 for 3 with a sacrifice fly. So 2 men ago. There's quite a connection with
third baseman
Joe Torre, but the Yankee coaches with the Mets. His first base coach, Lee Mazzilli. Willie Randolph, his third base coach. His pitching coach, Mel Stottlemyre, used to be the Mets pitching coach. Don Zimmer was an original Met at the Polo Grounds. And, of course, Torre himself back in the late 70s, Mets manager. There's Lee Mazzilli. He was a pretty popular player here, too, with the Mets. And Willie Randolph, it's hard to remember him with the Mets, though. Willie Randolph had a lot of success as a Yankee. Mel Stottlemyre, who, of course, started his career as a Yankee pitcher and a good one. Now, apparently, Brocious got something in his eye. There's Don Zimmer. Now, Zim hadn't changed that much since when he played for the Mets in '62, has he? Popeye. So, trying to help Scott Brocious. Looked like he got something in his eye. Another view of Shea Stadium from high overhead. The Monster.com blimp providing us with those panoramic views of the action at Shea Stadium. Monster.com. Job good, life good. That's .com speak, Joe.
John, I saw a note in the paper today, and said that Wally Joyner retired from the California Angels, and you know, he has a big place in the California Angels history. So just wanted to make note of that. He was a good guy, and he left his print on that franchise.
He said he felt just as good as ever as he was on the on-deck circle waiting to bat, as good as ever when he strode to the plate to bat, and he felt as good as ever after the at-bat going back to the dugout. It was just while he was at the plate, or I think he said it better, it was the time in between that wasn't as good. So he felt it was time to walk away. I saw him play just earlier this week. The Angels were in San Francisco, Pacific Ballpark.
And he was really one of the good guys, really good guy. So I wish him well in whatever endeavor he decides to go into.
What about broadcasting? Would you advise him to go into broadcasting?
If he would so desire, but I mean, I don't know if everyone wants to broadcast.
The last time I saw Wally Joyner hit, he came up as a pinch hitter this past Thursday in San Francisco and drove in a run with a base hit. A pretty sweet swing, line drive base hit. And he had 2 base hits like that as a pinch hitter in that series against the Giants. He could have hit. A ball and a strike to Brocious. He's kind of an inspiration, too, to a guy named Jim Edmonds with the Cardinals. He grew up in that area and used to go watch the likes of Wally Joyner when Wally was first breaking in. Back in '86, Wally Joyner came along in what was a pretty good rookie class that year with another guy named Barry Bonds. And Barry Larkin, I think, was a rookie that year. And a few others. The Yankees lead the Mets here 5-2 in the 8th inning. 2 down, runner at first. Brocious bounces it foul. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Scott Brocious tonight has walked and twice has struck out. Robin Ventura will lead off for the Mets in the last of the 8th inning. I mean, the Mets just look a little undermanned right now.
Well, again, they did not make any big moves in the offseason. Kind of stood pat, and it hasn't worked for them. Although they lost Mike Hampton, they lost Bobby Jones and the pitching staff. And they really didn't add any offense, and I think that's the big problem they're having is the offense.
3-2 the count to Brocious. Zeal playing behind Posada over at first base now. 5-2 the Yanks lead in the 8th inning. Posada runs and another walk. Soriano will come up. That is the 12th walk of the game. Next Sunday, we'll check in with Barry Bonds. The San Francisco Giants up against Mark McGwire. McGwire's back. He had a 2-home-run game just a couple of days ago. Giants and the Cardinals from St. Louis, the career home run leaders all time. There's Mark McGwire, 7th on the list, and Barry Bonds is now 11th, just 4 back of Double X Jimmy Fox, 6 back of Mickey Mantle. And he is moving up real quickly. Bonds and McGwire, the Giants and the Cardinals, 8 Eastern, 7 Central next Sunday night from St. Louis. Charlie Huff going to bring in Turk Wendell. 2 men on, 2 men out in the 8th inning. Alfonso Soriano coming up. We'll be right back. Derek Jeter escalated a 2-run 5th inning rally with an RBI triple. And for the Mets, a long night of frustration, such as this double play ball to end the 7th inning hit by Todd Zeal with 2 on and 1 out. The Mets have left 8 men on base. They have received 9 walks and 3 wild pitches, but have only 3 hits and 2 runs. And there is Turk Wendell coming on with 2 on, 2 out, and Alfonso Soriano, the hitter.
I had a chance to see those shark teeth and bear teeth and everything that Wendell wears around his neck today up close, John. A little rough.
Well, was it just rough or was it cool?
Well, I think it was a little rough. He thinks it's cool. I mean, I guess it is. Look at that. A little bit of everything there.
But I mean, where did they come from? Did he take them from the shark?
They're from a lot of different animals. Bears, sharks, everything. He's got everything. He's a hunter. He's a hunter.
You mean he hunts sharks?
Well, he hunts everything. He gets everything. I was in the locker room and I was trying to figure out what each one was as we were talking, but
Soriano pops it foul and out of play. 2-1 the count. Are you a hunter?
no.
See, now that's what I love about you.
Yeah, that's why I couldn't figure out what they were.
There's Mark Johnson. He came on with Wendell, part of a double switch. Johnson will move into the 9th spot of the order. Todd Zeile has retired. Wendell hits in the cleanup spot. He'll be due 9th. The next time through the Mets batting order. 2 on, 2 out. Soriano 1 for 3 in the game. High in the air to right center field, going back. Shinjo still going back, and it will go to the wall. Posada scores. Groshus scores a 2-run double for Alfonso Soriano, and it is 7-2 Yankees.
The Mets outfield was playing awfully shallow for Soriano, but I don't think they could have caught this anyway. The ball was hit a long way into right center field. But they were awfully shallow to start with. You'll see how far Shinzo tries to go to get this ball that's hitting the right center field. But you can see where Shinzo is at the beginning. Look how far he has to try to run, and he still can't get there.
Now Randy Choate takes a strike.
Both Shinjo and McEwen were both playing in shallow.
Choate, who has never batted before. And of course, we see that in these interleague games when the American League teams play in the National League parks. You see the guys who never bat. Who was the worst hitting pitcher you ever saw, Joe? How about Ron Herbel?
I can't remember. I mean, there have been a lot of guys that, you know, had for display only purposes on their bats when they walked up there, but I can't remember who they all were. There were a lot of guys that weren't good hitters.
And Choate hit that one. And he is thrown out by Rutherford. But the Yankees have opened it up. They're closing in on a sweep of the Mets. 7-2. Yankees.
For a AAA membership application, stop by.
Monday Night Baseball, the Yankees now, who have never swept the Mets, nor been swept by the Mets in the Interleague Series, but now they're closing in on one. They need 6 outs more. They lead 7-2 going to the last of the 8th inning. And a lot of the folks at Shea have begun to head home. SportsCenter will follow the game with Dan Patrick and Rich Eisen. And a lot of drama at the U.S. Open today. Bonds has company. There are other home run hitters moving up. And the Sunday night conversation with Phil Jackson. SportsCenter followed by Baseball Tonight. Don't forget, we're talking about that U.S. Open. There'll be an 18-hole playoff tomorrow, 18-hole coverage. Tomorrow on ESPN at noon Eastern. And then on NBC at 2 o'clock Eastern. Retief Goosen, Mark Brooks, each 4 under. Tomorrow, check it out. Happy Father's Day. SportsCenter next. I suppose the greatest single performance in Shea Stadium history, Joe, I mean, you could make that argument, occurred on Father's Day, 1964, which was the year that this ballpark opened as Robin Ventura stands in. Jim Bunning pitched a perfect game against the Mets on Father's Day, 1964. He's one of your guys now, isn't he?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I remember that, but I wasn't even in the big leagues at that time.
Where were you in 64? In June?
64, I was in Durham. No, I was in the Texas League.
Oh, you had graduated from the Durham Bulls.
I was in the I was playing for the San Antonio Bullets.
There's a pass to Choate, and it confused Jeter. Ended up kicking it. That one confused everybody.
Yeah, it looked like he lost it when he went past Schultz. And before he knew it was on him.
Ventura is aboard.
And that's interesting because we mentioned Jeter has gone 24 games without an error. See, it looked like it fooled him, and then he tried to, well, he hit him on the heel of the glove. Maybe he just lost it.
And that will end his errorless streak. One of those change-ups back of the pitcher. I mean, Choate, I think, could have caught that ball, but it didn't get to him as quickly as he was expecting. And I think, as you say, it caught Jeter a little unawares as well. So an error. Ventura is aboard. Ventura 2 walks, a fly ball out, and now he's aboard on an error. Here is McEwing. He has an RBI with a base-loaded walk. He's also struck out and walked again. Mets have had no problems getting walks tonight. They've walked 9 times. Choate, and that's the hit batsman. It's the second batter that he's hit, although the first that counts. The other one, Todd Pratt, he hit while Pratt was swinging. It's counted as a strike. That is the 7th hit batsman by Choate this year.
And that ball was way inside. You can see how far it is off the plate. And McEwing just tried to jump up to get out of the way, but it hit him on the shin.
Yeah, that looked like it hurt, didn't it?
Yeah, that does hurt. There's not much meat around the shin, and it just kind of drilled him right there on the shin.
Here's Desi Relaford. He grounded out on a check swing with the bases loaded to win the first inning. He has walked and fouled out since then. 1 ball and no strikes. Choate came on during the 6th inning. Again, they would. If Joe Torre could have everything he wanted, neither Mike Stanton nor Mariano Rivera would have to work tonight, and he's got a 7-2 lead. Choate's in a little jam here in the 8th inning, and it is 2-0. Keep in mind, Choate's been with the club all year, and coming into this game, he'd only thrown 17 innings. He had one stretch in about a month's time. He only pitched 3 games. 2-0 the count. It's a strike on the outside. 2-1 now to Relaford. Ray Ordonez on deck. Talking about Ron Herbel, Joe, he as a pitcher, and this is the day, you know, before the DH, where pitchers always batted in their own games. But Ron Herbel was a particularly bad hitter for the Giants back in the 60s. 2-2 to Relaford. Herbel never got a hit until the Astrodome opened. And then one day indoors he got a base hit. His first hit was indoors. The next year he did it again indoors. His first 2 hits. And then Willie Mays said to Herbel, he says, if you ever get a hit outdoors, I'll give you $500. And they're in Wrigley Field one day, in a little small dugouts, and Herbel lined one into right field that looked like a base hit. Again a changeup. Again past Choate through the middle. Base hit, and Ventura is in to score, and McEwing goes to third. And it is 7-3 Yankees. Relaford gets the RBI.
Well, both the hitters have gone right back through the middle. This ball kind of jams Relaford. Again, it's not hit that hard. But you can see that Choate can't time it. It goes over his glove and on into center field for a base hit. And the Mets are in business.
First and third, nobody out. Ray Ordonez coming up. So Herbel lines a base hit to right field at Wrigley Field, and Willie Mays jumps up to get a better look at it, hits his head against the roof of the dugout at Wrigley and knocks himself out. When he wakes up, thinking he'd lost $500, he finds out that Herbel got thrown out at first by the right fielder. And that's bad hitting. But I think it was Bob Buell once. You faced Bob Buell.
Yes.
He's a pretty good pitcher.
Faced Ron Herbal as well.
Bob Buell once went 0 for 70 in the same season. 0 for 70. That's bad hitting. Those are the things that led to the DH rule being invented. Ordonez takes ball 1. Well, Mike Stanton has worked in 3 consecutive games and 4 out of the last 5. The closer, Mariano Rivera, has worked in 3 consecutive games and 4 out of the last 5. 7-3. The Yankees still have a little bit of a cushion, but the Mets are threatening. 2-0. There's been so much talk about the Yankees going after a starting pitcher. You know, a lot of talk about David Wells in particular here in New York, where Wells was such a great favorite when he played for the Yankees. But Torrey told us last week, Joe, that he thought the most pressing need for the Yankees was another pitcher in that bullpen.
Exactly.
Preferably a right-hander. It is 3-0 to Ordonez. Another need for the Yankees, maybe, or at least before Andy Pettitte went into the Sabre list, was for a proven hitter before a starting pitcher. The count. Mark Johnson, a big power hitter on deck, and that loads the bases.
Well, the Yankees have done everything they could possibly do in this ball game to help the Mets, but the Mets are going to have to help themselves.
I mean, this is unbelievable. The Mets have 3 runs on the board despite receiving 10 walks from the Yankees and a hit batsman. In this era, also an error by Jeter. They've also received 3 wild pitches, but only 3 runs. The Yankee bullpen, Stanton is the lefty remaining, but again, Torrey prefers not to use him. Almanzar, Mendoza, and Mendoza worked 3 2/3 innings just the day before yesterday. Prefer not to use him either. And Rivera, he'd also prefer not to use him. And this is becoming a war of attrition now for the Mets. They know the Yankees bullpen is thin. So Mark Johnson, Ivy leaguer, up out of the minor leagues for the Mets. He's had 8 hits and 29 at-bats, including 2 home runs. And he is the possible tying run. A home run would tie this game. The Mets have a run home and 3 men on with nobody out. The curveball outside. 1 ball and no strikes. There is McEwing, who was hit by a pitch. Relaford, who had an RBI single. Ordonez, who walked. Mark Johnson. Called a strike. Johnson has hit 33 big league homers. Came up originally with Pittsburgh in 1995. And at that time, a big hulking raw talent. He's very strong, has tremendous power. But has spent most of his time in the minor leagues as the Mets sport their rally pads. Curveball off the outside. 2-1 the count.
Well, I think you're at the point, if you're Choate, you just have to throw him a fastball and hope he hits it at someone. The last thing you want to do is walk him in this situation. He's tried to throw him a couple of breaking balls and he's missed. You just have to go after him and throw him a fastball.
Johnson has 1 grand slam in the big leagues. That was at Candlestick Park in San Francisco, 1997. 2-2. Good pitch there by Choate.
Well, that's what you have to do. You just have to give him your best fastball and try to get him out.
Johnson, 6 feet 4 inches tall, from Dartmouth College. He got a degree in psychology while he was The Yankees infield would give away a run to get a double play here. Agbayani on deck. And the breaking ball got him looking.
The left fielder, number 50, Benny Agbayani.
Now Torrey is going to go for the right-hander.
Well, it's a good pitch, and this takes a lot of guts to throw that pitch. You haven't been able to get the breaking ball over. You don't want to go to 3-2, but you throw it again, and it's not really a good breaking ball. It's just a strike. It's not your sharp breaking curveball. He was just trying to throw it for a strike, and he got it over.
Leading 7-3 over the Mets. Last of the 8th inning. Benny Agbayani is coming up against the Yankees reliever Carlos Almanzar, just recently brought to the big leagues by the Yankees. Spent most of last year with the San Diego Padres. He's a very good slider. Benny Agbayani, who drove in the winning run of Game 3 of the World Series against the Yankees in the 8th inning of Game 3 last October. So here's Benny. He's hurting for a hit. He's 0 for 4. Bases loaded. Strike on the outside. She has not lost hope. This is the base hit back in October. Game 3 of the World Series right here in this ballpark. So that was 8 months ago. Seems like perhaps longer to the Mets right now, as poorly as this season has gone for them. Agbayani, base hit to right field. McEwing scores. And the ball juggled by O'Neill as Rutherford scores. Ordonez to third. And the Mets now are in the game. It is 7-5 Yankees. Shinjo coming up and Piazza behind him.
Well, Almanzar threw 2 fastballs. He was having trouble catching up with him, so he hung him a slider. This stitch just stays up. It's a slider right there, and he just goes the other way with it. Good hitting there by Agbayani. He didn't try to pull it. He just went the other way. O'Neill fumbled it, but didn't hurt anybody.
The Hawaiian hammer. The big kahuna. Benny Agbayani getting the kind hit the Mets have not been getting all night long. So here is Shinjo. Shinjo hit that one. The umpire is chasing it up the line like he thought it was a fair ball, but Shinjo is immediately acting as though the ball hit him in the foot or the leg, which would have automatically made it a foul ball. 0-1 the count to Shinjo. 0 for 3 with a walk. Now, Shinjo has been getting a lot of clutch hits for the Mets. Piazza is on deck. Doing anything that would allow Piazza to come to bat in this inning would be clutch right now for Shinjo. Ryan foul off the right field side.
Good fastball by Almanzar. He has a good high fastball. Looks like he has great movement when he gets it up.
Tsuyoshi Shinjo. He got a base hit in the 10th inning in his first at bat in the majors against Atlanta back on April the 3rd. This could be 2. Soriano to Jeter 1. Back to first. Cleef.
Oh, man.
And he's slow in getting up. Ordonez has scored to make it a 1-run game.
Well, he was going to be able to beat the play if he ran through the bag, but he slid into first base, and he slid awkwardly, meaning Shinjo at first base. And I thought he may have injured himself, and he may have, but if he just would have run through the bag, he was going to beat it anyway. See, it's a ground ball. He gets out of the box well. Soriano to Jeter and back to first base. And see, he was going to beat it, and he slides in, and that's how you injure yourself. And he's going to come out of the ball game, but all he's got to do is run through the bag. Look at this. That's very awkward. Just run through the bag. And watch his ankle hit the bag. He twists his ankle a little bit and everything else. I mean, that's all-out hustle. But if he would have run through the bag, he was going to beat it anyway because he had run out of the batter's box so well. He got a great start out of the batter's box.
Well, I hope he's okay. And there is Timo Perez. Mike Piazza, the hitter. The Mets have scored 4 in the inning, are down by 1. 1 ball and no strikes. Now, they could hardly have hoped even for something this good happening, but they have gotten it. Their best hitter up there with a chance to do something big. High in the air, deep to left center field, and Piazza has done it over the bleachers.
And, John, that's why they pay him the big bucks. I mean, and he earns them all the time. And he comes out for a curtain call. It's a high fastball. Watch where the pitch is. It's up. And, I mean, and he hits it. He knows it's gone right there. He's saying Mets ahead. And what this really does is put more doubt into Joe Torre's mind about that bullpen.
Lenny Harris is pinch hitting for Turk Wendell. A foul ball caught by Posada. What a spectacular moment for the great Mike Piazza with just an incredible home run, an astounding home run that was about 8 miles high. And over the bleachers, the Mets are leading. We'll be back. And it is the New York Mets who are leading. A 6-run, 8th inning rally to put them ahead 8-7. Don't forget now, coming up, Sports Center, Dan Patrick, Rich Eisen standing by with the complete day in the world of sports. Followed by baseball tonight. Armando Benitez on the pitch now for the Mets. And of course, Benitez was not able to get the save in Game 1 of last October's World Series, which helped turn that World Series around in the Yankees' favor.
But, John, we talked about that inning. We said the Yankees had done everything they could to help the Mets. The Mets was going to have to get a big hit themselves, and they did. There was an error by Jeter, a hit batsman, and a base on balls. I mean, they gave the Mets a lot of opportunities, and they finally took advantage of it.
Here's Timo Perez now in center field. He came out as a runner for Shinjo. Shinjo, who just did beat that relay throw that otherwise would have been an inning-ending double play. It's called a strike to Knobloch, the top of the order for the Yankees. 8-7 Mets.
Well, he's still going to have to go through Knobloch, Jeter, and Bernie Williams to get this save.
And Bernie Williams, who has had great success the few times he's faced Benitez, and that is too high. 1 ball and 1 strike. Knobloch is 1 for 4 in the game. 8 runs on 6 hits for the Mets. All of those walks and hit batsmen and errors and everything else finally came back to get the Yankees. Right field. McEwen. 1 away. Now Derek Jeter. And of course, Jeter had a great World Series last October. He put him up leadoff in Game 4, and he hit the first pitch from Bobby Jones for a home run. Then in Game 5, he went deep against Al Leiter. And both of those home runs were right here in this ballpark. Jeter tonight has grounded out twice. He has tripled home a run, and he's been safe on a Ray Ordonez error. 8-7 Mets. Strike, and it's 0-1. Bernie Williams, who is on deck, has had 6 hits in 7 at-bats, including a home run against Benitez in the past. And Bernie tonight, 3 for 4 in this game. He's been red hot all month. The mask right off the face of Mike Piazza. 0-2. Many got up and left Shea Stadium after the Yankees got 2 in the 8th.
The ones that are left are true Mets fans. You can tell that. The Mets fans are the ones that are still here.
Well, 2 years ago, Joe, a win on a Sunday night against the Yankees after they lost the first 2 was a turning point for them.
Well, what they expected to have this series, the Mets had been struggling. They were wanting to, beat the Yankees at least 2 out of 3 ball games, so to get themselves jump started and maybe turn their season around as they did a couple of years ago. But this one win here, if they can hold on and get it, could help turn their season around again.
1-2 to Jeter. 2-2. Shinjo, by the way, suffered a sore left quad on that ill-advised slide at first base.
Well, he stretched everything, so not surprising that he stretched his quad a little bit more than normal.
Strike 3 called. And Jeter goes back to talk to Diaz about it. 2 down.
Center fielder, number 51, Bernie Williams.
Well, Benitez's target's outside. He comes inside with a fastball. Looks like it got the inside part of the plate. Jeter jumps back.
Well, as you saw there, it looked like also as it crossed the plate that it was above the knee. So here's Bernie Williams with a great history of success against Benitez. And Bernie tonight, a homer, a double, and a single, and a deep fly ball to center. Strike, and it's 0-1. A miserable night for the Mets until the 8th inning. An astounding turnaround. They were trailing the world champion Yankees 7-2 in the 8th, and they got 6 runs. An inning that began with an error by Jeter, a hit batsman. There was a walk. 1-1. And all the while, the only relief pitchers that Joe Torre really has confidence in a tight ball game, he steadfastly refused to use, as both of them are headed toward burnout the way they have been used already. Get Joe Torre an arm, a veteran arm for that bullpen. 1-2 the count to Bernie Williams. And what's left of the crowd of better than 54,000 is making a huge noise now at Shea Stadium. Deep to right. If it's fair, it's gone. Down the line. It is foul.
said, Yogi says it's never over till it's over. He was one pitch away, and he got that fastball up and over the plate.
A 97-mile-an-hour heater.
Well, it's supposed to be inside. You see it's out over the plate. And Bernie Williams puts a charge into it, and it's barely fouled down the right field line.
One and two the count. The splitter. It goes by the catcher. Piazza recovers. The throw to first in the dirt, but held by Johnson. And by that margin, the ball game is over. The Mets stumbling and limping to the very end, and the one-hop throw to first that was protruding from the edge of Johnson's glove. That was enough to wrap it up. Wow.
Well, they finally threw Bernie something else speed with 2 strikes. He's been trying to get him with a fastball, and he threw him a splitter in the dirt, and Bernie chases it. With 2 strikes, he chases that splitter in the dirt. Piazza can't come up with it, but it hits the umpire. So everything did work for the Mets here in the 8th and 9th inning. And Piazza's throw, you see his foot slip, bounced at the first base, but Johnson was able to come up with it.
And so, will history repeat itself? Will a Sunday night win against the Yankees when the Mets were stumbling turn their season around? They've got a lot of turning around still to go. But a night to remember in the Subway Series. A 6-run 8th inning. And the Mets, laying out for all to see the Yankees' shortcomings, have won this game. See you next week in St. Louis. SportsCenter is next. For Joe Morgan, this is John Miller. Good night from New York.
This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com.
Roger Clemens been on the mound Sunday night, but he is not. With more on that, here's John Miller from Shea Stadium.
All right, Carl, and I'm with Joe Torre, manager of the New York Yankees. And Joe, Roger Clemens could have pitched tonight if things had been planned out a little bit differently, but you chose to bypass him. Now, you've answered that question 1,000 times, but there seems to be some confusion around the country about that. In the New York Times today, a letter to the editor from a fan said something to the effect that when Clemens is inducted into the Hall of Fame, I will think of him hiding behind his manager in the dugout this weekend at Shea. So I want to give you another chance to set that record straight. Why is Clemens not pitching?
Well, you know, I can understand it if Roger was reluctant to pitch, you know, but he was never given the opportunity to give me a decision, you know, because I arranged the pitching along with Mel Stottlemyre, and we decided I just didn't want him pitching here because Roger gets, you know, he gets caught up in the hype. And he knows what's transpired here, you know, hitting Mike in the head and, of course, the bad incident in the World Series. And to me, I think that would have taken precedent over his pitching his game. And the thing that concerned me is that he may have been more reluctant to pitch inside because the umpires would have been alerted. And you know, to me, I was more concerned about winning the game than worrying about what was going to happen if he was going to get hit by a pitch. Roger Clemens had absolutely nothing to do with this decision, so it's really unfair to accuse him of hiding behind me.
In 3 weeks, when the Mets play at Yankee Stadium, would Clemens pitch in that series?
I really don't know yet. You know, now with Pettit on the disabled list, we're going to see what the pitching will look like. Again, I don't see this. You know, I wasn't afraid of Roger getting hit with a pitch. Okay. But again, it's that whole hoopla that's connected with it, and I think a lot of it will depend on if Andy Pettit will be back by that time. Right now, we're thinking Pettit will be back by the first week of July, which means you know, we'll have to see the way it's lined up. But we haven't got it figured out that far in advance right now.
Right now, you're on the last year of your contract. Anything new on that? Are you about to sign a contract? What's happening with that?
No, I'm not close to anything. I'm just waiting for George Steinbrenner to get back to me. He's been busy, you know, with a lot of things, you know, related to next year with the Yankees and with television and whatever. And I'm waiting for George to call me back.
All right. So is that a story right now? Should we make a big story out of it?
I don't think so. You know, we did meet previously in spring training and talked from time to time, and it was just basically he's keeping me appraised of what's going on. And you know, as far as I'm concerned, I think he will get back to me, and I think we both want the same thing to happen. So it's just a matter of when it's going to be that, when that meeting is going to take place.
Thanks, Joe.
Okay, John.
Joe Torre, let's go back to you, Carl.
Top 2 loaded, 2 outs for Alex Gonzalez. And Armas in a jam in the first. Out of it again. 6 innings, 7 hits, and cage 7. Top 5, no score. Man on second. Delgado's at the plate. And we are playing corner ball. Mondesi comes in to score. RBI double for Delgado. Blue Jays got themselves a 1-0 lead.
You're playing pinball in that ballpark.
2 batters later. Expose, Leather, Batista. Mark Smith. Oh, tough play. Didn't know to go to his backhand, keep it on his forehand. It ends up in the glove. In the 8th, 1-1, 2 on, 2 down, checking out from Dan Plesac. Here's Cabrera, 2 on, 1 out. Liftoff off Paul Quantrill, a 3-run shot, 4th of the year. Walk-off time.
Cabrera hitting 4th in their lineup. He looks like it right there.
Expos win it 3-1. Talked about Vladimir Guerrero before we went to break. Not a great game for Vlade. He goes 0 for 3 with a run. Attendance, 84-40, not getting any better. We go from north of the border. Alangio, the most active, by the way, the most by out of the way, which made it a little tough for this. McLemore to second, Crespo to first. We got him. Klesko sees Ichiro between second and third to Gomez. Home. Save. 2-1 M's. All right, here's Klesko. Explosive, bat down. I think he knew it right away. His 15th, Pods are up 6-2. You think it's over?
No.
Do you think it's over?
No, I don't. Not if John Olerud's playing.
Mike Cameron, Woody Williams, yard work, 3-run shot. Mariners down 6-5. Bottom 6, Aaron Seeley, who didn't have much, he's out. Ryan Franklin, Phil Nevin. And can you say hammer time? His 17th, 7-5 Padres. It's now 9-6. You think it's over?
No, I don't.
You don't think it's over at 9-6?
You can't handle the truth, Carl.
Jay Watasic, you need me on that wall. Olerud, 3-run shot, tied at 9.
Have you noticed everywhere Olerud goes, they win?
It's a 3-run home run.
Pretty good player.
Let's see. There he goes. One in New York. Yeah.
Mets.
One with the Mets.
Washington State.
Winning here. I wasn't up on my Washington State history, but sure, 9-9. In the bottom of the 7th inning, Nelson is now on. They have a man on first with 1 down. Baseball tonight comes back. We'll bring you the best defensive plays. Players starting to get a little feisty if they're not shown on Web Gems, and we don't blame them. This is an honor. We'll be back. All right, Buck Showalter and I returning. Baseball tonight. It's the Devil Rays and the Marlins. Let's go fishing. Top 2, D-Rays up 1-zip. DeFelice is on first. Ryan Dempster, good pitch. DeFelice, the steal at second. Oh, the foot got in. Good call. You missed the tag.
Well, this is the kind of play that people get frustrated with Alex Gonzalez about. DeFelice is out here, obviously, by a long margin. Just a poor tag.
Ron Copa credit too. A lot of times you see that guy called out. We've actually seen the umps make 2 calls at second base. One in the neighborhood play and that one. Redmond over the head of Tyner. Millar and Derek Lee score. Marlins down a run, 4-3. High fives, low fives, bottom 5. Marlins looking to tie things up. Kennedy to right. In the corner it goes. Mike Lowell, the hitter. Game now tied at 4 as Eric Owen scores. Next at bat, Kevin Millar facing Paul Wilson.
This guy's had a great year for these guys so far. He's going to be playing first base there for a long. They're trying to find a place for him to play.
They pull ahead 6-4. They go on to win 6-4. They're now 34-33. Over 500. Ed Wade, by the way, GM of the Phillies, his top scout says this is the team. This team right there is the one that's going to provide the most opposition in the NL East, the Florida Marlins. We continue. Tigers D-backs. Kurt Schilling. Oh, usually you go with that black eye stuff. He's got the light blue for the Prostate Cancer Awareness Project. Cedeno down, Easley down. Schilling trying to get his 11th win. Bottom 3, no score, no outs, no one on. Damian Miller, and we have Hunt.
Deep drive by Miller. Damian's been awful hot lately. He can swing the bat good for a long period of time. He's more than just a defensive catcher. He's a better hitter than he shows.
Bottom 4, D-backs up 2-zip. No outs, no one on, and still no one on after this shot. Luis Gonzalez has got 28. Is he a 60 home run guy?
Anything Louis does would not surprise me. Great hitter, and he's done it enough now where it's not a fluke.
Here's Tony Womack. They're loaded. Grand salami for Tony Womack. His first home run of the year. A great story. father passed away earlier this year. It really affected him. D-backs lead 7-3. And DeRozzo goes yard off Dave Borkowski. His 10th. D-backs up 8-2. 4 home runs in the game. But Womack was the story in an 8-3 game. Kurt Schilling, thanks for playing. 12 Ks in 8 innings, and the D-backs win it 8-3. Back to Womack, though. Really a good story to see him apparently get everything back on gear. 3 for 4, that grand slam, as everyone gets affected by the passing of their father. He was affected, and finally, the Diamondbacks see the patience and Womack's persistence pay off. Plays a whole bunch of them on Father's Day. We begin with Tony Batista at the plate, lining one to left. Mark Smith, backhand, straight away.
That's not a whole lot of fun on AstroTurf.
All right, Ron Coomer now for the Cubs. He pops up to left. We talked about the shortstop giving up here. Good awareness from Jones. Knowing it. All right, Pat Rapp, the Alex Cora comebacker.
You got to be kidding me here.
You mean, as a manager, you guys don't go over this? Spring training?
There's no way you can practice that, but he does. I'll bet he does.
Barry Bonds at the plate. Terrence Long roaming center field and roaming it well. This is full extension.
Keep in mind, he's playing him in right center, too. He went a long way for that ball.
Ramon E. Martinez. Tim Hudson. I mean, it hurts when a pitcher does this. Diving stop and the throw to first, and Hudson. Give me a break. Those are your web gems, folks, from a Father's Day Sunday. Smith, Jones. Give Rapp credit for what he did.
I'm going to Ramon Martinez.
Ramon Martinez. Deal. I'll go with Long. Speaking of Long, here are the balls that left the building. A-Rod's got 20 for the Texas Rangers. Mags. White Sox now with 17, coming off of a good year. John Olerud for Seattle. Let's see. All he does is win. He won with the Mets. He won in college. Where did he go to college?
Washington State Cougars.
Toronto Blue Jays. Now the Mariners are winning. David Segui for the O's. It's his 5th. There's Todd Helton and Larry Walker. You mentioned the 1-2 punch. Sammy Sosa and the Cubs.